The gunslinger's back in the CFL, ready to shoot the lights out of opposing defenses. When he first came to these parts by way of Sacramento, David Archer became the only man in league history to pass for over 6,000 yards in his first season. From Sacramento, he moseyed on down to San Antonio and showed that a gunslinger can always play in Texas. After the American team scattered, Archer found himself on a team that fits his personality, the Rough Riders. But opponents were usually rough on him. So the gunslinger packed it up for the bright lights of television, and he liked it until an old buddy came a-calling. It was his trusty sidekick, Kay Stevenson, wondering if he could come and join him in Edmonton. Naturally, he went, because no gunslinger can stay out of a fight for too long. See David Archer, the gunslinger, in his CFL return next. BC Place in Vancouver. Canada's birthday celebration is over, but hey, the CFL party is just beginning. We've got the Eskimos and Lions coming right up. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Evening 2 of the CFL season. We had two terrific games for you yesterday, and we expect more tonight from the Eskimos and Lions. Now, in case you were out celebrating yesterday, well, we're the new guys. My name is James Duthie. Eric Tillman, the former general manager of the BC Lions and the Toronto Argonauts, and he won a Grey Cup ring in both of those cities. Eric Schultz, also Chris Schultz, Eric Schultz. We're the new guys. We're still trying to get the names down straight.
That's okay.
He won a Grey Cup ring.
I'm not offended. I'm not offended.
He won a Grey Cup ring with the Argos as an offensive lineman, also played with the Cowboys. Eric Tillman, your former team, a little bit of a mystery.
James, you're right. The BC Lions are the unknown, great unknown in the Canadian Football League. Last year, this team had two personalities. When they were good, they were very good. And when they were bad, they were absolutely awful. Which team will we see tonight? It's anyone's guess. What I do know, though, is that the BC Lions were very aggressive in the offseason in the free agent market. And while a lot of the focus and attention was on the Robert Drummond signing, quietly they were upgrading their defense with their Canadian base and, most importantly, a very weak secondary. On paper, this is a much better defense, but the game is not played on paper, Chris. What about the Eskimos?
Well, the Eskimos this year, the real big signing has been David Archer. I mean, that's pretty obvious. Archer's going to be the quarterback that hopefully will lead them right into the Grey Cup. But I really think the #1 issue for them is still defensively. This team has won and lost the vast majority of the games playing great defense, and in particular, the defensive front seven. The signing of Rich Stubler as a defensive coordinator was huge because that keeps their continuity in the things they've been doing the last 7 seasons in the exact same situation, the exact same area of development that they've had for that period of time. And you got to think the Edmonton Eskimos, to be successful, will have to play great defense the month of July for that offense to catch up.
All right, thanks, guys. Eric on the left, Chris on the right. Just making some personal notes for myself. Should be a good game. And to call it for you, here is Rod Smith and Leif Pedersen in Vancouver.
Thank you, James. Yes, Dave Archer is a significant addition to the Edmonton Eskimos, but so too, Leif, their head coach, Kay Stevenson. He's got the CFL coaching experience, but this is his first time coaching the CFL in Canada.
Yeah, that's true. You know, Rod, Kay Stevenson did a pretty good job his last year in San Antonio. It took him a few years to really understand the Canadian game, how to juggle his imports and Canadians, but that last year in San Antonio was a terrific year. And, you know, the thing that I like what Kay has done, he's brought some of his former players from those teams up to the Edmonton Eskimos. You look at those 5 faces who have been with him before. Interesting to note that Tony Burst was the only player of this group that played football last year. Everybody out at least for 1 full year. We'll see how that affects their performance tonight. But Kay's come a long way. He's a lot more relaxed, and I think he'll do a darn good job.
Yeah, you can add one name to the list, too. Tommy Henry, who played for him in Sacramento, a defensive back for the Eskimos tonight. tonight. A lot of free agent movement in the offseason, the most significant recently in the middle of BC Lions training camp. They come up with ex-Argo Robert Drummond, who I'm sure will fit into Adam Rita's plans quite nicely.
Oh, you bet. What a signing for the BC Lions. Robert Drummond kept everybody guessing as to who he was going to go to. Was it Toronto or BC? Well, he chose to come to Vancouver simply because he felt they had a great shot to go all the way in the Western Division. And, you know, this team is full of speed, and he just enhances that a little more. Look what he's done in 4 years. And to me, the biggest thing in that graphic is the 3 Grey Cups. Every team he's been on has been a winner. Adam Rita's hoping he brings that dimension to the BC Lions, and boy, the fans out here are in for a treat. This guy can play wide receiver, running back, run inside, outside. He's a beauty, and they're going to have a lot of fun watching him.
Well, last year, Adam Rita, I don't think felt he had the personnel he wanted for his type of offense, but he certainly believes he has it this time around. BC with something to prove after falling apart in the 97 season late, and Dave Archer something to prove, getting back in the game from the broadcast booth to the playing field. The kickoff is coming up.
CFL Live on TSN is brought to you by Gatorade. Is it in you? And by the new Speed Stick Ultimate Antiperspirant for tough 24-hour protection.
Hot and sticky night in Vancouver here at BC Place Stadium, getting set for the season openers for the Edmonton Eskimos and the BC Lions. And Edmonton led by Kay Stevenson. 1993, after coaching Sacramento in the World League, first coach of the Gold Miners for 2 years, they moved to San Antonio. And as we talked about before, Leaf, his first experience in Canada, new coach of the Edmonton Eskimos.
Well, it's been nice to watch Kay's evolution with the CFL. Of course, out for a couple of years now, but boy, those first teams in Sacramento were kind of funny to watch because they were really NFL structured teams that just didn't get it done against the freewheeling style in Canada. But Kay's come a long way, as I said in the opening, and I think he's going to adapt quite nicely. On the other side of the field, Adam Rita, he seems to adapt to any team that he's with. He's a player's coach, a guy that everybody rallies around. He's a good guy, fun guy, and he likes to have some fun with his teams and offensively spread out his team, move guys all over the place. He's a good guy, and you know, I think obviously he's going to have a better season here than he did last year. They just ran out of gas in the second half, and you know, that's in the back of their minds that they want to come out quickly this year and show the fans that this is an improved club.
They did run out of gas, starting off in first place in the West, 6-3 at the halfway point, but won only 2 of their next 9 games. Finish up at 8-10 and lost to Montreal in the opening round of the playoffs. Brett Anderson kicks it off to get this game underway, down to Henry Gizmo Williams, takes it at his 10. The Giz work to the left side, and he's taken down there nicely by Jocelyn Borgella, the ex-Winnipeg Blue Bomber, with the tackle. The Giz with just about every record you could have for returning punts and kickoffs and missed field goals in the Canadian Football League. And Dave Archer said he had a little rush to get off, Leaf, in that first game at Taylor Field in the rain, his first exhibition game, but improved significantly against the Calgary Stampeders in the second one.
You know what I like in those numbers, career for him, is the touchdown to interception ratio. For a guy that throws a lot of passes, those are pretty good numbers.
See when he decides to throw a pass here. On 1st and 10, with Don Blair to the right, Jamie Richardson to the left, but he hands off to Troy Mills, his old teammate, but he is wrapped up by Kelly Sims. Buries him for a loss in the first play from scrimmage for the Eskimos. The offense for the Edmonton Eskimos, of course, some new faces with Archer and Mills and Calvin Williams. They call him CJ. Don Blair, former standout from the University of Calgary, and look for him to be one of the favorite receivers for Archer. And up front, that offensive line, Chris Morris, a veteran. Bruce Beaton, the key there at left guard, brought over from the Montreal Alouettes as a free agent. Archer in trouble, gets it away, wide open. Jamie Richardson. That's a first down for the Eskimos and more, up over the 50-yard line. And Archer was in trouble, but he stepped up in the pocket for a 25-yard gain, found the open man.
And you could see that play develop, that if Archer was just able to keep his feet, he had Richardson wide open. BC on 2nd and long go to the zone, and they give Richardson a lot of room as he delays to the right of your screen and finally will come underneath the coverage. See BC dropping deep, deep, deep. They clear out now. Here's Richardson underneath with lots of room, and Archer finds him.
On the first down, they hand off to C.J. Williams. Gets good yardage, about 7 yards up over midfield, close to the BC 50-yard line. A lot of changes at receiver, Lee, for the Eskimos, with Shannon Myers injured, but also Darren Flutie and Eddie Brown gone.
I mean, it's a whole new group. And, you know, I look to a guy like Don Blair. I know that David Archer tried to really get him involved in preseason and learn each other's chemistry, what they like to do. But to me, this is an emerging year for Don Blair. He has to step up, take a leadership role on this offense, and be interesting to see how quickly David Archer tries to get him involved tonight.
Second and short for Archer and the Eskimos on the move in BC territory in this first drive of the football game. And Archer's look sharp, but nearly picked off. He is. Archer's intercepted. Jocelyn Bourgella still on his feet. Down to the Edmonton 30-yard line. And just as I spoke of Archer looking sharp, he has made his first mistake.
Well, David Archer was a little slow getting that ball out on second and short. You know, Jocelyn Bourgella, to his credit, was sitting on this pattern. And, you know, as soon as the receiver stopped, Jamie Richardson, Bourgella was shot like a cannon, stepped in front, and the first turnover of this ball game is a huge one. But, you know, Archer a little late on the throw, and give Bourgella credit. I mean, he knew the situation. Second and short, they're probably not going to go deep, so he was squatting down, sitting on that hitch pass, and he makes the big play.
So Archer talks it over. Bourgella came over to the Winnipeg to BC from Winnipeg in a trade for David Maeva, who we saw yesterday against the Alouettes. But BC with the ball at the 30-yard line of the Eskimos when we come back. Here in Vancouver, the Lions defense has given Damon Allen and that offense great field position to assume control here in the first quarter at the 30-yard line of the Edmonton Eskimos after the interception by number 27, Jocelyn Bourgella. Allen, statistically one of the finest quarterbacks in the history of the game, and also one of the finest runners as well, ranking 6th in rushing yardage in Canadian Football League history, and 6th in pass completions as well. He is up there, and he's got a lot to work with here. And pump fake and throws, wants the end zone right away for Jimmy Cunningham, and it just goes by the Jet. Incomplete to set up second down.
And the Jet stumbled out. He ran it out and up, and as he went up, he had his defender, Ian Franklin, beaten cleanly, but he just stumbled on the up, or they would have had a touchdown. Nice way to go after it off the turnover. But he stumbled initially, and then he just got, I mean, he's only about 5'6" anyway. It's tough for him to stretch out. This whole receiving core is small. I mean, Jet's about 5'6". Shipman's no more than 5'7". Sandusky's small, so Damon Allen's going to have to stand tall back there to find somebody.
And he's in shotgun again with 5 receivers out and finds the Jet. And the Jet finds some yardage down near the 20-yard line.
You know, one thing I don't understand, Rod, is, you know, that is a great first down play, the quick screen to the wide receiver. It's usually good for at least 6 to 8 yards, but to me on 2nd and 10, that is not a good call. I mean, you're hoping that the guy can break tackles and pick you up 10 yards. I think that's a great first down play. It's not a good 2nd and 10 play, and they come up quite a bit short.
They get it down to the 22-yard line, but that puts them in an obvious field goal situation for the ageless wonder, 44-year-old Louis Passaglia. 35 for 45 last year, longest from 50 yards, so that's 78% of his kicks he made. An incredible career that he has had. It just keeps on going from the 29. Not the best kick, and it bonks off the post, so the Lions are not on the board.
Well, the Eskimos really dodged one there because Cunningham was open, might have had the touchdown. Now Louis hits the post, and I think Kay Stevenson and David Archer probably feel pretty good about that interception doesn't cost them.
So Adam Rita has nothing to show for what his defense set up that offense with early on in this football game.
Just to the left of Adam Rita, you'll see Danny Barrett. There's Danny Barrett, former quarterback with too many teams to mention in this league, but he is now the offensive coordinator for the BC Lions. And don't think in the back of their minds that they're not thinking if they run into quarterbacking injuries down the road that Danny Barrett could still play, as Jim Sandusky has come out of the coaching ranks to play tonight.
Yes, Sandusky in the lineup. We'll talk about that more tonight. Play action fake. Archer over the middle. And that goes off the fingertips of the slot back Mark Tobert at the 40-yard line.
Well, the defense that David Archer is going to look at that has already picked off one pass. Great speed on the outside with Virgil Robertson and David Benefield, and good push up the middle with Johnny Scott and Dave Chaders at tackles. Bruce Dixon starts. It comes over from Edmonton. Start in the middle. Kelly Sims, converted defensive back. And the secondary, a lot of new faces. A key leadership guy is Dale Joseph. He came over as a free agent from Saskatchewan, but you already saw the quick speed of Jocelyn Borgella on the corner with his interception. And, you know, like the Winnipeg Blue Bombers yesterday, this is a good group of players, but they haven't played together a lot yet, and sometimes it takes a while, but sure didn't take Winnipeg long the other day. That secondary played super.
Yeah, that played great. There was a procedure call against Edmonton. It was declined, so 2nd and 10 for Archer out of the shotgun. Once again, looking over the middle for Zahn. Clarence picked off again. Glenn Rogers, the ex-Eskimo. He has some room down to the 25-yard line. And this BC defense has been a nightmare for Archer early in this game. 2 drives, 2 interceptions, and BC's in business again.
And you know, on the procedure penalty, before that, David Archer threw high to Tobert over the middle. This time, just simply high, and there's no way his receiver can make the catch. The only guy that can make the play is Glenn Rogers, and boy, that's another turnover early in the game, and Edmonton really shooting themselves early. It hasn't cost them yet, but it's only a matter of time.
They got down to the 22, tried the field goal, went off the post. This time they've got first down, but just outside the 25-yard line of the Edmonton Eskimos. Handing off to Robert Drummond. His first carry as a BC Lion. Didn't play in any exhibition game, so this is his first taste of action at all. Some scrimmaging.
Sorry, Rod, you and I had a chat with Robert. Still got the great smile, and you know, we asked him if he was 100%, and you know, he said he was, but I don't think he is. But you know, 90% or 95% of Robert Drummond is pretty good anyway.
Well, he looked like he'd been working out. He didn't look like he'd lost any shape from his days with the Argos, and remarkable accomplishments he had, winning 3 straight Grey Cups with Don Matthews in Baltimore, and then 2 with the Argonauts. Out of the shotgun. They send 4 to the left, and Allen looks over the middle. He's got Jimmy Cunningham. First down and more. Down near the 5-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal for the Lions. Allen has gone to Cunningham. He is an early favorite for him in this football game.
Well, this is a play straight out of the Toronto Argonaut playbook from a couple of years ago. What they like to do is go to a 4-receiver set to the wide side. Here are 4 guys out here. They clear out, and Jimmy the Jet comes all the way across the field underneath with all kinds of room. There you see him come underneath, and this is a play straight out of the Toronto playbook from 2 years ago, and it's very successful.
And Allen going to work again on the hitch, and Cunningham is down near the 1. And a flag goes down as they talk it over near the goal line. Cunningham quite upset. He's been the favorite target. I believe that's 4 times now that Allen has gone his way. And 3 completions. Marker's
Major
still
foul,
down on the field.
Unnecessary roughness. BC 21. After the play, 2nd down.
Yeah, that's a dumb penalty. I mean, you know, you get down in scoring position down to the 1-yard line, and all of a sudden, you know, Jimmy doesn't like the little treatment that maybe somebody gave him a little extra shot. Well, you've got to bite the bullet here. Maybe it was a bit of a late hit, but goodness, you'll see the end here. He's trying to get down, and, you know, I mean, he was on the ground, but that wasn't a tough hit by Trent Brown. And boy, oh boy, I mean, we saw some silly penalties in the Winnipeg game yesterday that cost the Bombers a little bit, and this one here is inexcusable to me as a player. You just don't do that.
Pushes him out to the 17-yard line, and Allen with 4 to the right out of the shotgun, and finds his man again. It's Drummond down to the 10, so gets some of it back. And that was on 2nd down, so we're in field goal country again on the 3rd.
Well, again, 2 wonderful opportunities to score that they just don't have an opportunity for the touchdown.
No. Drummond and Willis, Jamal Willis, essentially bumped out Corey Philpott, who was let go at the end of training camp. And much like a Robert Drummond, with Cunningham and Jim Sandusky, the receivers coach. And up front, Mo Elewanibi, former NFL player, and Jamie Terrace, Scott Hendrickson, and Big Dan Payne over from the Argonauts, and newcomer Jeff Jones, number 59, at right tackle. Louis Pasaglia with his 2nd attempt. The first one went off the upright, and this one is good. So Pasaglia is 1 for 2, and the Lions, after 2 good chances, are finally on the board. Maybe Edmonton should thank its lucky stars. They're only down by 3 in the first quarter at BC Place. Tomorrow night, it's Friday night, and Friday Night Football, Adidas Friday Night Football on TSN, Toronto at Saskatchewan, and with Bobby Jurison playing for the Argos. Won't that be a strange one at Taylor Field for their fans?
Well, Bobby Jurison turned loose by the Rough Riders. Don Matthews had a need for a rush end, and so all of a sudden, Bobby Jurison, you had to fly to Toronto for a few practices. You fly right back today to Regina to get ready for that game tomorrow night. And, you know, he'll get a good reception out there from the fans.
Oh, you know it. One of the long-standing members of the Saskatchewan Rough Riders and one of the fan favorites. That will be very strange, I'm sure, for the fans at Taylor Field, and especially for old number 71. Back with the Green Riders on this kickoff. BC with a 3-0 lead. Could have had a whole lot more. And it's Gizmo Williams on the return across his 30. Over to the 45, the 46-yard line. Good run back by the Giz.
Well, we'll see if David Archer, as he talks to Kay Stevenson, as he comes out onto the field, shakes off those first couple of series. They were not good series. He overthrew. He was late on one. And, you know, you said he was talking about shaking off the rust. And, you know, this is 2 series. Let's see if the rust is gone. You know, it's interesting to see Jimmy Kemp on the sidelines as well. He was also in San Antonio,
sure,
another player that maybe we forgot about. But he and Archer were a tandem in San Antonio there last year there.
Under Kay Stevenson, yeah. On the handoff, it's CJ or Calvin Williams. Picking up about a half of a yard, so it'll be second long for Archer and the Eskimos.
Well, BC's defense historically has been an aggressive defense. The first series that Edmonton had the ball on 2nd and long, they sat back in a deep zone, you'll recall, and that's when Jamie Richardson was able to come across underneath and have lots of room and see if they maybe put a little more pressure on. They've got a terrific front four with strength and speed, and of course the linebacking group, not a great blitzing group with Kelly Sims and Jason Bryant.
Out of the shotgun, Archer to throw in 2nd and long, dumps it off to Troy Mills. Has some room over midfield and picks up an Edmonton first down.
And that is a good read by David Archer, because BC only rushed 3 men and they dropped 9 deep. And when you do that, it's very difficult to force the ball in downfield. And, you know, David Archer did the smart thing, just dropped it off to Troy Mills and let him use his running ability to pick up the first down, which he's very close to.
Yeah, it was maybe premature, although I thought the way he rolled, they would give him a better spot. As they're going to measure it now, and it'll be within inches and the nose of the ball. What would you call that?
I'd call it first down.
Looks like it.
Any part touching the stick.
Just barely, by fractions of an inch.
Touch that stick, you get a first down.
There you go. And across midfield.
Why are you laughing?
Who's laughing? Never laugh during a football game. Serious business for the Edmonton Eskimos now.
Serious business for David Archer. Got that first down under his belt.
And hands off now. And good yardage up the middle for number 33, C.J. Williams. He was the 4th leading rusher in the history of Georgia Tech.
Well, a great kick-out block by Troy Mills right here, 22. He leads C.J. Williams up through the hole. And, you know, I think if the Edmonton Eskimos can run the football for David Archer as he just slowly gets his feet wet again, I think that'd be a big plus.
He left early from college to try out for Arizona. Got cut last year. Has caught on, though, with the Edmonton Eskimos, but not much doing right there in the short yardage. He does not get the first down. And so, down around the 51-yard line, the Eskimos will be kicking it away. And this will be interesting. Sean Fleming has been booming the ball in preseason. And remember, Leaf, last year was the first full season where he assumed the duties of both punting and what he's normally accustomed to, of course, a great place kicker. And they thought for a while that it bothered him a little bit.
Well, it did, because he only averaged slightly better than 40 yards a punt last year, and in preseason this year's been doing a lot better job.
Not a bad punt down to the 10, and Al Shipman lets it roll into the end zone.
That's a good choice by Shipman.
Better to give up the point than to take the bad field position, and that is the choice of the Lions.
Absolutely. That's a smart play by Shipman. He got the good bounce to get it into the end zone, and much better to take it to the 35-yard line, give Damon Allen and the offense some breathing space. A single point in the first quarter doesn't mean a whole lot.
So the Lions' lead is cut to 3-1. They'll start to move the ball again. Welcome back to BC Place Stadium. Rod Smith, Lee Pedersen, and David Pratt with us as well, who has a guest down at the Edmonton sideline. Dave.
Hi, everybody. We're with the general manager of the Edmonton Eskimos, Hugh Campbell. Hugh, you've got a new quarterback. You've got yourself a new general manager. You're still the general manager, a new quarterback, a new coach. How quickly do these two have to come together?
Well, I hope soon. We've got 17 new players, 12 rookies. The Eskimos have never done this before, but also a new head coach. But he's a very experienced head coach, and I really like him. I think we're going to be all right. I hope it's sooner rather than later.
Also, lots of changes on defense, and that is another place where a team's got to come together in a hurry.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe 4 new starters on defense, but there's some changes there. But we got some good personnel on defense. And they've had a lot of pressure on them in this game already, and only given up 3 points with 2 shots inside the red zone. So I hope they can hang in there till the offense makes some first downs.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Thanks a lot, Hugh.
Thank you.
Up to you guys.
Thank you, Dave. And Leaf, there's a guy who knows a thing or two about winning championships. I believe as a player with Saskatchewan in '66, and also, of course, as a head coach with the Eskimos for several years, 5 straight, late '70s, early '80s, and as a GM as well, and now president of the Eskimos. On second down, Allen back and throwing and finding a man for first down yardage, and it is Jamal Willis, number 32, the newcomer to the team, up to the 50-yard line.
Well, again, what the BC Lions are doing to the Edmonton defense is to put 4 people to the receivers to the left of your screen and then work back to the weak side. And, you know, what's going to happen is you get a lot of one-on-one. A.J. Gass cannot make the play on Jamal Willis, and he picks up the first down. But clearly the strategy for BC early is to overload one side and work back to the single weak side.
And that time he fakes the handoff to Drummond, and then the shuffle pass to Jimmy the Jet. Big yardage again for Cunningham. Down inside the Eskimo 45-yard line. Jimmy Cunningham has been busy so far. An 18-yard gain for him. He came to the team late in the season last year. He's been contributing.
Now here's Jimmy the Jet. Watch as Drummond goes this way. He'll sneak right through there, and then you get the little shovel pass. And this is, again, this is right out of the old Toronto playbook. And as Leroy Blue goes to the outside, I mean, there's nothing he can do right. And that's a great-looking play. And already you can see how much they're going to try and involve with Jimmy the Jet Cunningham in this offense.
And this time they do that patented handoff to remind you of Flutie to Robert Drummond. That time, of course, Damon Allen to Drummond for more yardage up the middle across the 40-yard line and down to about the 37.
Well, the defense that Damon Allen will work against is pretty much a veteran defense, as Hugh Campbell indicated. Only really 4 changes from a year ago. The keys up front, of course, Benny Goods and Leroy Blue. Robert Brown apparently is a great pass rusher at the tackle spot. A.J. Gass, a newcomer linebacker. Willie Pless, 5 times MVP. Don't get much better than him. And secondary, of course, Malcolm Frank, number 10, really the glue in that bunch.
Drummond picked up 6, call it 2nd and 4 on the Eskimos 38. Allen takes it himself, trying for the first down yardage, but he does not get there. It'll be 3rd and short. Willie Pless there to make sure he doesn't go any farther.
Normally this is a pretty good call on 2nd and long. Damon Allen on the quarterback draw. Mal Hunter, 46, really plugged it up. He did not make the tackle, but, you know, if you don't get the guy in the middle of where he was, you don't have a whole lot of success on the quarterback draw, and there was really no place for Allen to go.
Certainly over his career, though, Damon Allen has made that play work a time or two, hasn't he?
Well, it's a great play for him. Tracy Ham runs it well. Doug Flutie ran it exceptionally well. And the key, though, is you have to get that one person out of the middle, and they weren't able to.
They're not booing. They're saying Louis. He's trying another field goal from the 44. It's blocked. Bounding down around the 10-yard line where the Eskimos will settle. And it is picked up there by Gizmo. Henry Williams with it. Picks up some more yardage up to the Eskimo 20. So once again, with BC in scoring position, they pick up nothing. A good break for the Eskimos. So Louis Pasaglia on 3 attempts so far. 1 for 3. One hit the upright from 22 yards away. And the 3rd one tonight. This one here is blocked.
And right down here, you'll see coming right inside there. Tough to see the number who got it. But there's the tip. I believe it was A.J. Gass, number 41, the outside linebacker, and he comes right through the hole. See to the left of your screen. No, it's Mel Hunter, number 46, and he comes through and gets a piece of it.
So even though Edmonton's been outplayed so far in this game, they're only down by 2 points. It is 3-1. And Archer dumps it off. It's Troy Mills. Mills, big room up the middle, first down and more. Up across the 45-yard line, Eskimos.
Well, the key to a successful screen is to invite those defensive linemen upfield. Once they pass, dump it off. And there you see all 4 BC linemen were upfield, and Troy Mills with a lot of running room and get some good blocks downfield, and a nice play, well-executed screen to get David Archer some breathing room deep out of his own territory.
His best year, 1994, with Sacramento, scored 11 touchdowns and rushed for 1,230 yards. Henry Williams in there as a receiver, and he takes the pass at the side and has nowhere to go. He is buried by 3 Lions for short gain. In fact, a little bit of a loss in that play.
Well, again, the key on the quick screen to the wide receivers, you need to get the initial block at the point of attack, and Calvin Williams, number 33, doesn't get 26. Glenn Rogers, former teammate of Henry Williams, and Rogers was in to make the play. And you know, that play's a great play, but if you don't get the first key block, it very rarely has a chance for success.
Rogers last year with the Edmonton Eskimos, a CFL All-Star. Playing against the old mates tonight, although many faces have changed. Second 11, over the middle, complete. C.J. Williams down near the 45-yard line, BC. Once again, the Eskimos have moved it into Lions territory.
Well, and it's a good read by David Archer. You're going to get a look at what he sees, and here's Calvin Williams. He's the number 3 receiver. As soon as he clears into the zone there, and it's not man-to-man coverage, Archer puts the ball in the air. There you see he's going to clear past Kelly Sims. Now the ball's in the air. He splits the linebackers in the zone. It's a great throw, and again, a well-executed play. So now you've had a good screen play. You've had a good pass over the middle of Williams, and Archer's finally getting his rhythm.
Archer is settling down a bit, too, after throwing 2 interceptions. This time Williams maybe is going somewhere. He was caught well in behind the line, and he ends up gaining some yards.
Well, Bennyfield had a great shot in the backfield. David Bennyfield had him, but you know, one of the great measures of a running back about how good is he going to be is can he make people miss? Well, he made David Bennyfield miss. Here you see Bennyfield's got them all lined up, but a little move to the inside, and Williams turns a bad play into a good play.
The backfield for the Eskimos last year was Tony Burse and Eric Blunt. Blunt, we saw yesterday, now with Winnipeg. Burse broke his forearm. He's out for half the season. So Williams has been getting some business early in this game. And play is called just off the snap.
Well, I thought that was a good backfield last year with Eric Blunt and Tony Burse, but this is equally as good a backfield with Calvin Williams and Troy Mills.
Number 60. Still second down.
Blunt, of course, now with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, made quite a contribution, I thought, in their loss to the Alouettes yesterday.
Well, especially on special teams.
Yeah, kick returns, punt returns.
He did get in a bit, catch a couple of passes, but it was a major contribution for Jeff Reinbold and the Bombers, and losing a close one, 27-24 at Winnipeg Stadium yesterday to the Alouettes.
No, it's funny for a guy like Eric Blunt. Sometimes you just need a change of scenery, a new address, and things look a little better.
Second and 12 out of the shotgun, Archer. And he's wrapped up. And he is down. David Benefield had the pressure on and buries him back in Edmonton territory.
And that's the speed, because Thomas Raham, the left tackle, is a good pass-blocking tackle, but David Benefield, with his speed, he doesn't have the size of a normal rush end, but watch Raham. David Benefield just uses leverage, gets underneath, and with enough of a hit to take Archer down.
In his 6th year in the CFL, spent 1996 in the NFL and then came back to the Lions. And that was the final play of the quarter. Archer gets sacked, and they'll have to get rid of the football. Trailing in this one, 3-1. Let's head back to CFL control.
You're watching CFL Live, and we're at the quarter. Here's your host, James Duthie.
All right, a little bit of a better drive there for David Archer, but a rough start on his return from the broadcast booth. First series, right away he gets in a little bit of trouble. And throwing an interception on the first series, you don't want to do that. Little toss out to the flats, and Jocelyn Bourgella says, thank you very much, with the pick. And then the next series, well, Archer will drop back again. And this one, I don't know what happens here, but let's see. Quack, 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 quack. That is a duck, folks. And Glenn Rogers says, thank you, Dave. 2 interceptions in the first 2 series. And Chris, David Archer's a pretty cool guy. You don't think it's nervousness? Is it just rustiness?
Well, I think it could be a little bit of rustiness and it could be a little bit of nervousness, but I wouldn't worry about David Archer. Even though he made those 2 mistakes, he's so experienced in this league and he has been in pressure situations that this won't faze him. This will not affect him later on in the game. But they're 2 different types of interceptions. The first one would have been an inexperienced issue because he really underestimated the recovery speed of the cornerback Bourgella. The second one, it almost looked like the ball slipped out of his hand because it fluttered. His footwork was fine, James. It just fluttered, and then anytime a football flutters, it gains altitude, it gains height.
All right, now fortunately for Archer and company, the Lions really couldn't capitalize too much on this one. Jimmy the Jet Cunningham made some good plays, but here the Jets' engines, well, they got a little too hot, Eric. That was a bad penalty to take.
James, you know, football's an emotional game, but as a professional, you're expected to maintain your poise. That's just inexcusable. I mean, absolutely inexcusable. The BC Lions would have had a first down on the 1-yard line, 3 shots to get 7 points. Those 4 points, the difference in a touchdown and a field goal, could really come back to haunt them at the end of the game.
All right, let's quickly get it back to Rod and Leaf for second quarter action.
Thank you, guys. Interesting stuff as this second quarter begins with a punt from Sean Fleming. Inside is 45. Taken by number 1, Al Shipman, who drops it. And recovers over the 20 to the 25-yard line before he is taken down there.
Must be kind of tough for that punt cover team and the punter. You know, you don't have a lot of choices. It's either Cunningham or Shipman, and they're both very, very dangerous. So I guess the best place maybe is kick it out of bounds.
He had some time with Shreveport and then with Ottawa, but really last year is when he emerged as one of the talents of this league. He was one of the nice stories for the Lions last year.
Well, you know, and it all changed for him when they moved him to slot back. When he was with Shreveport, he was a little running back, and he got beaten up. But now as a slot back, he has more room to maneuver. He catches the ball very well, and I think that was the great thing for his career, was to change positions.
Out of the shotgun again, and they hand off to Drummond again. Patented play, and it picks up about 3 or 4 yards. Robert Drummond, we saw, as I said before, him take that kind of play so many times with Doug Flutie, and you talked about it. This is very reminiscent of the kind of offense Adam Rita had under Don Matthews in Toronto when they won a Grey Cup.
Boy, it is almost a carbon copy with those plays where they run Jimmy the Jet all the way across the field underneath. But you know, when you look at Drummond, usually a running back either likes to go inside or he likes to go inside. But I mean, Drummond can do it both ways and do it equally as well, and that's what I really love about him.
Out of the shotgun again. Allen over the middle for Drummond, a little bit too far. He falls down at midfield. It falls incomplete, and it's third down. The Lions will be punting.
You have to wonder that the quadricep muscle is still, I think it's still bothering him a little bit. And, you know, although Drummond was close to that one, he's a tough guy to overthrow because of his speed. You know, he was a legitimate world-class 100-meter sprinter in high school and in college at Syracuse. So I think that early in the year, you know, he may be, whether he'll admit it or not, I think he may be holding back just a touch. Because he is tough to overthrow.
Oh, he certainly is, and you should say it before, he has had no action at all. Did not play in the preseason games, just signing with the Lions midway through training camp. Louis Pisaglia will punt. But the 15-yard lines get some pressure and gets a nice spiral away. Gizmo Williams inside his 40 to take it. Moving to the left and cuts back in, but nothing doing. He is wrapped up and brought down. Still inside at the 40-yard line.
And a lot of times you can really measure how a team is going to perform by how well do they play the special teams. How eager are they to run down under punts and kickoffs. And that time with Henry Williams, the BC Lions had a bunch of people hustling downfield and really limited him to a very, very short game. But so many times you can tell what a game's going to be like by how interested teams are in playing those ugly side of the game, the special teams.
It's hard to imagine that a game that has Jimmy the Jet, Gizmo Williams, and Al Shipman not coming down to special teams in a way. Three of the best returners in the game. The Archers' numbers 5 for 8 in this game, and here's pass number 9. Almost complete. Close coverage down there by Jocelyn Bourgella. Attempted for Jamie Richardson, number 5, and that would have been a huge play for Edmonton.
But, you know, Borgella had the perfect position. He was on the inside hip, and that would have had to been an absolutely perfect throw. And you'll see at the end of this, Borgella just sticks the right hand over the top. And, boy, you know, you cannot do it any better as a corner than Borgella's done. He's had an excellent first half with an interception, and now just when it looked like Richardson had the ball, he punched it out.
An off-season trade from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. David Mieva coming in return. Play for the Bombers. Out of the shotgun. Archer passing again. Gets out of some trouble. Dumps it over, but it's dropped. Dropped by Don Blair. And that would have been a first down. Instead, they'll be kicking again.
That's a tough one. We talked about Don Blair and how I felt that he really would have to emerge this year as a leader on this team. And, I mean, that's a good job by Archer to scramble and get some space to throw. And Donnie Blair was just, you know, the old thing, thinking about running before he had control of it. I mean, that's an easy catch for him. He just lost his concentration.
I remember talking to Dave Archer last year, working for us at TSN. He liked Don Blair, liked his skills, liked his potential, and in preseason he was a favorite target. Threw to him 5 times against Calgary. But that one was dropped, and so a high, towering kick for Sean Fleming. Punting well in the preseason, averaging about 50 yards a punt, and that one is pretty good, getting inside and out of bounds the 34-yard line. It's a 3-1 game. Archer and the Eskimos trail by 2. Damon Allen, quarterback for the Lions, shaken up, Leaf, on that punt. He was on the sideline.
Well, I learned early in my career never to stand too close to the sidelines. You see Allen right there, but watch to the left of your screen. Kelly Lockbaum blocks Jay Hamilton, and Jay Hamilton is not his fault. I mean, he goes right into Damon Allen, and Allen takes the helmet right up under the chin. But, you know, I mean, it's a lesson to be learned by everyone, young kids or even pros now. Man, oh man, don't stand so close to the sidelines. You never know what's going to happen. I remember Cal Murphy got nailed a couple of years ago and broke his wrist and that, but well, boy, I learned early. Don't get so close there. Only bad things happen. You know, you can take those extra 5 steps when you want to get out onto the field. But fortunately, Allen's going to be okay and back in, but that could have been a lot worse.
He's exposed to enough dangerous hits on the field, let alone off it, as that one falls incomplete. So he doesn't miss it down, looking for Jim Sandusky.
Boy, Sandusky, what a story. You know, they were just decimated in their receiving corps by injuries through training camp. Sandusky was actually running the other team's offense as the opposing team's receivers in practice just because they didn't have enough bodies. And then Mike Trevathan could not play this week. So, you know, always was part of the plan that if they got into trouble that he would be a receiver. Last year he couldn't because Edmonton still owned his rights, but you know, he didn't hesitate, and last Sunday was his first full practice.
His first full season, the last one, actually, his last full season, 1995. He played in 96 for Edmonton, but in the same situation. He had been a coach. Damon Allen takes off, has a first down, is up across midfield. And Allen, the leading rusher among quarterbacks in CFL history, over 7,000 yards, and the active rushing leader as well, picks up 20 there.
Well, and Damon Allen is so smart. See, he sees right away, he's looking at that, and when he sees the blitz come, he knows man-to-man coverage. If there's an opening, I'm going to have a lot of room, and, you know, that's just experience as a quarterback. He knew the situation, and he knew the middle was open man-to-man, and if he gets through the first wave, he has an easy trip to the first down marker.
He doesn't seem to have suffered after that hit on the sideline as he fakes the handoff and runs himself again to the left side and just takes it out of bounds after a short gain. We talked about how the Lions fell apart, Leaf, late last season, winning only 2 of their last 7. Allen had a knee injury, and certainly his play became very inconsistent as well. In many cases, as your quarterback goes, I guess so does the team.
Yeah, and Sean Millington was having a career year, and he missed the last few games of the season. I mean, they just got into a tailspin, and, you know, nothing Adam Rita could do could bring them out of it. It was not a happy group, and that's one of those things. It's tough to turn a bad situation around, and they couldn't do it. The best thing for them was when the season ended.
Absolutely. Eric Tillman said it. When they look good, they look very good. When they look bad, they look horrible. And it doesn't look too good there for Damon Allen as he is wrapped up in the sack, and Melvin Hunter gets it done. And once again, the Lions will be punting.
Well, you know, this is really a coverage sack because here's Mal Hunter down there. He's going to just come in, and although Eloanibi does a nice job on him, you know, when Allen steps up, there's just nobody to throw to. And, you know, initially this is good protection. That's enough time right there. And, you know, that's really a coverage sack. Mal Hunter is going to get half of it. but his secondary deserves the other half.
Mal Hunter had 9 sacks last year. He had 14 in 1996. A lot of sack potential up front. That Edmonton line, Leroy Blue as well. The punt is blocked. Blocked. And out of bounds. Rio Wells, number 19, gets it done. And flags are down. And Rio Wells is clapping. Looks to be going against the BC Lions. Big break. The first big break for the Eskimos. And they'll scrimmage from the 42-yard line.
BC number 33. Penalties declined.
Dave Ewell with the call. Edmonton with the ball in BC territory when we come back. Last year, Rio Wells was on Edmonton's practice roster. This is his first game, Leaf, and a big play for the Eskimos.
Well, he makes his presence felt early. You know, the key here is Brad Yamoka. The rule of thumb is protect inside first. He does that, and that just allows Rio Wells to come off the corner, and nobody lays a glove on him. This is a pretty easy punt to block, but Yamoka sees somebody coming up to the middle, and that's his responsibility to block up the middle first, and Rio Wells with some good speed lays out and gets a nice block on the turnover for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Signed as a free agent with Edmonton in '97, coming out of Fresno State. I guess you'd classify him as a rookie.
Well, you know, I mean, it's a sequence of events. For Yamoka, you know, had the interior people blocked up better, he would have stepped out and taken Rio Wells, but somebody missed the block up front. That's his responsibility to take the guy and get a block punt.
From the 42, they fake the reverse, and then they lose yardage on the play. Archer keeping it and going down.
That was an ugly play.
It looked messed up.
That was ugly. Jaders makes the play. The crowd reacts. They love him out here. I mean, you talk about a gamer. This guy, play after play. Look at the defensive tackles, Johnny Scott and Dave Jaders. That's a couple of all-stars right there, giving a good push up the middle. And we got to like this front four, as I said when we showed the opening lineups. Tremendous physical strength up the middle, and then speed with Virgil Robertson and David Benefield off the corners. That's a nice mix.
They lose 4 yards, 2nd and 14. Archer, the screen. Troy Mills has some room. Close to first down yardage, down near the 30-yard line.
Boy, and that shouldn't happen. I mean, you play a zone so you can come up and make plays like this, but Virgil Robertson had Troy Mills all lined up. Here's Robertson right there. Watch as he drops. He's got a chance to make the play. This is the way the defense is designed. Okay, break down, but he gets a little too aggressive, and Troy Mills is able to go around him. You've got to keep your feet moving and not commit that early, and you know that's what the defense is structured to do, make them throw underneath, but they still beat the defense.
It is a first down at the 31. And this time, Calvin Williams is wrapped up by David Benefield, and a loss of a yard.
Well, it seems like the entire first half, Edmonton's been second and long. I can think of only one occasion where they had some good yardage on a first down play. So once again, and BC on defense has been very passive here in this first half, and very willing to just rush 3 and 4 and drop back and, you know, expect to make the tackle. We'll see if they looks again as though they're going to drop people off.
Archer passing again. His receiver falls down, and a flag is on the play. Jocelyn Bourgella looks to be called for pass interference. There's also a flag in the Edmonton backfield.
It's going to be interesting how they call this, because Jocelyn Bourgella read this play
Holding.
Totally from the beginning.
Edmonton number 55. Forward pass interference. Edmonton number 5 is declined.
So both penalties are against the Eskimos. Thomas Rayam, the left tackle, called for holding, and it was Jamie Richardson on the pass interference, falling down on the coverage by Bourgella.
I'll tell you what, so far in this first half, Jocelyn Bourgella has absolutely owned Jamie Richardson, the young receiver for the Edmonton Eskimos. And
so it's second down and very long for Archer and the Eskimos. They pass, but it falls incomplete, and they'll be kicking again.
Well, Archer had, that's a timing pattern. You saw him kind of counting 5-yard increments there. He was saying, well, I wanted him to go 20 and out, so I threw it to that spot, but he went farther. You watch, he's going to chat with Don Blair right now and say, hey, buddy, 20 is 20, not 25.
I say kicking again. A field goal attempt this time. First of the game for Sean Fleming. It is spotted at the 50-yard line of the BC Lions.
Well, 2 years ago, Sean Fleming had a shaky year, and he responded last year, 41 of 56 on the season. Confidence was at an all-time high, and, he really turned his career around.
As long as last year was from 52 yards, this from 50, it's good. And for the first time of the game, the Eskimos have the lead.
And that was a great stroke by Sean Fleming. That's a 50-yard field goal that he just gave it a nice, smooth kick. He didn't try to extend himself. Good rhythm, and, he's carrying right off where he left a year ago.
Flagging the play against BC.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. BC 74. It happened after the play. Field goal stand.
Called on Jason Bryant, the linebacker for the Lions, but yeah, the 3 points do stand. Edmonton ahead now 4-3. It could have been so much worse for the Eskimos. They should be thankful they have the lead at this point in time. Dave Chater's actually number 74 on that.
Well, two things here. Watch the smooth stroke of Sean Fleming. I mean, this is just an effortless kick, and it's from 50 yards out. And we're going to show you the penalty to Jason Bryant, number 11, afterwards. I know it's slow-mo, but that is a great stroke. And then you see up here, there's the little extracurricular up there. And I mean, these are stupid penalties. I know Eric Tillman touched on it in the studio at the end of the first quarter about Jimmy Cunningham and trying to hold his emotions in check. But I mean, the kick is gone. I mean, that's just silly. Now they get to kick off from the 50-yard line. I mean, that's a dumb 15 yards to give up.
Well, barring a great return from two great returners, it could be some rough field position to start things off for the Lions, but you never know with these guys. Shipman has broke some big ones last year, and Cunningham, you know what he can do. Return to kick for a touchdown in the Grey Cup in '96 in snowy Hamilton when he was with the Argos, and it is Jimmy the Jet deep in the BC end zone, bringing it up. Gets a block, gets outside, still on his feet across the 25. And a flag on the play back at about the 7-yard line. And this one could be coming back. It looked like there might have been a clip right about the 10-yard line.
Illegal block. BC number 20. First down.
Brett Anderson of the Lions is called for that illegal block.
Well, again, penalties really hurting the BC Lions in the first half. I mean, that was good field position, and all of a sudden now here it is right up at the top of your screen. Watch. I mean, the old rule is if you can't get your head in front, leave them alone. And I mean, that head is so far behind. Goodness gracious. I mean, Adam Rita's teams usually aren't this sloppy, but I mean, that's just a dumb play. And look how much yardage it cost your team.
So they do start in poor field position as Damon Allen out of the shotgun hands it off to Drummond. Goes to the left side and gets up just over the 10-yard line to set up about a 2nd and 5 or 2nd and 4 situation. They actually mark it right about the 11-yard line.
You know, for Edmonton's defense, you see Mal Hunter and Robert Brown on your screen there, newcomer A.J. Gass, but what a great opportunity. You've just got a field goal. You've taken the lead in this game. I know it's early, but what a terrific opportunity to hold a team and get the ball back in tremendous field position.
Out of the shotgun again. Passes, and it's dropped. It was off the shoe tops for Jimmy Cunningham. He bobbled it a bit, but just could not hang on. And so BC, Louis Pasaglia, he'll be standing in his end zone to get this one away on 3rd down.
Yeah, for Kay Stevenson's team, I mean, he knew he had a good defense coming into this season, and a defense that may have to carry the offense for a while until David Archer gets on track with a new group of players. And so far in this game, you know, the offense has put the defense in some very vulnerable positions, and you know, they've only given up 3 points. They've done a heck of a job, and now they're going to give their offense back the ball in great field position.
And 2 penalties, as you pointed out.
And keep in mind, they've already blocked the punt, so let's see if BC can shore up their punt protection.
2 penalties have cost the Lions his field position dearly.
Get a great look at it here, see if they can get everybody.
They were coming. Bisaglia gets it away. Gizmo's chased back into his territory, but not for long. Cross midfield, about the 50-yard line, so it's a good place for Dave Archer and the Eskimos to start. A 48-yard punt, a good one for Louis Bisaglia. Edmonton has the lead by a single point.
CFL Live on TSN is brought to you in part by Midas Car Care, the way it should be.
Some big plays, but no big scores as of yet. Only 7 points on the board. 4 for the Eskimos, 3 for the Lions.
Seems like there should be more with all the opportunities both teams have had.
Well, we've had 2 interceptions taken deep into Edmonton territory. We've had a blocked punt. Nothing has materialized in the form of a major. C.J. Williams, Calvin Williams, breaks a tackle from Dave Chaters, but still ends up, if anything, maybe losing a half yard on that 1st and 10.
Well, one of the keys on defense to plugging up the run is to get penetration. And Dave Chaters, I mean, he is in the backfield. When you run a counter like this, it takes a long time to develop, and you really have to rely on your offensive line to hold their blocks for a long period of time, and they just weren't able to do it. I mean, counters are tough against Chaters and Johnny Scott because they get upfield so quickly.
Big Dave Chaters, native of Calgary. Out of the shotgun, pressure on Archer, steps up, finds a man, it's complete. Jamie Richardson, and a 1st down for the Eskimos at the 32-yard line of BC. Richardson, somewhat the unknown commodity with all the changes at receiver for Edmonton, but another catch for him.
Well, he's from the University of Florida. He only played 2 years at Florida, was a starter for them last year, and you know, after his sophomore year decided that he would turn pro and has come up to Edmonton. Apparently, you know, talking to the coaches today, he has tremendous skills. He's just kind of green in the pro game. It takes a while, but he sure knew what to do with that to get the 1st down.
He's 22 years of age, the youngest player in the Edmonton roster. They hand off to Troy Mills. He's got some room. Mills still going down to the 16-yard line. Another Edmonton 1st down, and they're in business.
Well, again, a good call. Spread out the defense with 5 receivers out. Troy Mills, the only back remaining in the backfield, and the quick hitter off the left side. Good block by Thomas Rayham and Bruce Beaton over there, and Troy Mills is into the secondary in a hurry.
Mills was cut by the Calgary Stampeders in training camp last year. We said before, quite familiar to Kay Stevenson and Dave Archer. They've played together before. And it's Calvin Williams on the carry. Gets across the 20. A little bit closer gain of about 3 yards.
And I really believe this is the kind of offense that will be most effective for Archer when he can really mix a nice blend of running and passing. You know, he's had years early in his career in the CFL where he just simply had to throw the football so many times because his teams were not good teams and he was always coming from behind. But in a game like this that's so close, you know, he can go to that running game and then he can mix in the passing with it. And I really believe that's when he will be most effective.
His 1st year in the CFL, and Kay Stevenson's as well, they were 6-12, and yet that year he threw for more than 6,000 yards, only the 3rd in CFL history to do it. 6,023.
And he was sacked about 90 times that season. That was a horrible offensive line, and not only did he get 6,000 yards, but he took a beating.
Stevenson and Archer talk it over. They're deep. They're threatening. We'll come back. It's about 2nd and 7 for the Edmonton Eskimos. The ball on the BC 18-yard line. They lead the game 4-3. It's as close as they have come to pay dirt. And the Lions have been this close before in the 1st quarter and come up with just the 3 points. So despite the struggles of Dave Archer early in the game with the 2 interceptions, things are looking a lot better right now as he has 5 out to the left. Looks back the other way. Calvin Williams takes it down for another 1st down. It'll be 1st and goal, Eskimos. And this newcomer is having a big game for Edmonton.
Well, it's a good call. You roll one way and you sneak your receiver, Calvin Williams, back across the flow of the defense. I love this. They had 4 receivers to Archer's left, television right, and Williams just sneaks back underneath. That's a good call and a pretty easy play for him to catch and pick up the first down. It's been a good drive. Mixed it up nicely.
He has, and Archer has settled down. 3 more out to the left and 2 to the right. And he hands off. And short yardage. Jason Bryant in on the tackle for Troy Mills on the carry.
It's a tough place to run. I mean, you're going right into the teeth of that front 4 of the Lions with Shaders and Johnny Scott, but they get enough push, and there's Troy Alexander. Bryant comes up and fills in.
To see all the new faces, it's somewhat startling at first. Wearing that Eskimo jersey, one thing this team has had is a tradition of winning. 26 straight seasons at 500 or better. Archer in trouble and pressure. They've got him. Dave Chaters wraps him up and takes him down at the 10-yard line.
Why, there's been some big plays on defense already in this first half. Here's Dave Chaters right there, and initially this a quick hitter for Archer. He wants to get this ball away right now, but his receiver Jamie Richardson's covered, and Chaters beats the block quite easily of 56 Jose Munoz, and Archer just has no chance. He can't get away from that pass rush. So the defense for the BC Lions, although the Edmonton Eskimos racked up some yardage on that drive, they hold tight and come away with probably only a field goal.
The defenses have been good, where it counts the most.
Chaters had a great first half.
So another field goal chance. This time from 17 yards away. Fleming has already had one from 50. A chip shot by comparison. And up and in. And they increase their lead to 7-3. If you just happen to tune in and see the score, you might presume a touchdown, but still none have been scored. No majors yet, but some major chances for both clubs.
Well, that drive for Edmonton, clearly David Archer now is comfortable. He's had certainly enough series to understand what BC's doing. BC's not doing anything drastically different to him. They're playing rather passive tonight, and he's probably seen the blitz only 2 or 3 times. They've been very content to drop off, and I think you're going to have to mix it up a little more. Archer's comfortable, and I think on that next series, the BC Lions should change up defensively somewhat to give him a different look.
From football in North America to football in Europe, World Cup soccer, France 98. Of course, TSN's the place to be. Italy versus France. I wonder if there's any excitement about that one. Coming up tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. And then Brazil and Denmark. Down to the great teams of the World Cup. That one at 2:30 p.m. Eastern.
What did I watched Germany and Mexico the other night. You'd think that there, out of the 20-odd guys on the field, you'd think about 8 of them got shot by people from the stands the way they go down when they're not even touched. What is this stuff?
Spoken like a true North American football guy.
Well, I like it, but I mean, these guys, you breathe on them, they fall down.
We've got a tough game here tonight. A lot of guys getting knocked down, and they are getting back up. Al Shipman knocked down at his 35-yard line off the Fleming kickoff. So the Lions, trailing by 4, go to work with Damon Allen again. 6 for 10 and 60 yards. One thing about him, note especially in the first half of the season, Leaf, his efficiency. One of the most efficient quarterbacks in the game.
Well, he doesn't beat himself, and I think the efficiency statistics bear that out. And one thing you can always count on for Damon Allen, if things aren't going well running or passing the football, he can take the game into his own hands with his scrambling and running ability. He hasn't had to do it yet, but always has that dimension.
And completes this pass to Al Shipman, gets up over the 40-yard line. And a gain of about 8 yards. You saw the shot of Danny Barrett. You pointed him out before, and a great relationship between the two quarterbacks, Damon Allen and Danny Barrett. Barrett, the quarterback coach.
Well, I mean, anybody that's known Danny Barrett, I mean, how can you not like him? And he's got a great football mind, and he's going to be a terrific mentor for Damon Allen.
And those two were involved in one of the great Grey Cups back here in 1987. The Argos and the Edmonton Eskimos at the time, as you see He hands off, and not much doing that time.
Pretty dull play on 2nd and 3.
Number 32, Jamal Willis, who essentially replaces Corey Philpott. That's the way they're calling it here, Philpott Surprise Cup. I was just going to say, though, about Damon Allen. You remember that Grey Cup where he came off the bench? Matt Dunnigan got hurt, and after that, Edmonton rallied and beat the Argos, I believe, by a point, or by 2 points. And Danny Barrett came off the bench as well. I remember he had a quarterback draw for a touchdown and moved the Argos effectively as well. Good back and forth. They've been on a lot of teams.
Was that the game that Jerry Clark kicked the winning field goal?
That was the one for the Eskimos, 38-36. 11 years ago, hard to believe, and that was really the game that put Damon Allen on the map in the Canadian Football League. Off the punt, Gizmo bobbles it and gets it back. Edmonton ball right at the 30-yard line after a 38-yard punt.
Well, with 45 seconds to go, David Archer has some time to try and get a 2 or 3 needs probably 3 first downs to give Sean Fleming a reasonable shot at a field goal. His numbers not exactly what he would like from the turnover ratio with those interceptions, but he has a chance now with 45 seconds to go to try and add 3 points to their 7-3 lead.
It's been a low-scoring half, but it's had some exciting moments. The offenses have had it deep. They've had chances to get it in. You see out of the shotgun and 4 receivers to Archer's right. And he looks and finds Don Blair his first catch of the game. He dropped one earlier. He has that one down to the 52-yard line, BC.
Well, after that completion, he only needs a few more yards, and Sean Fleming's in field goal position. And with 4 receivers to that side of the field, Don Blair just hung out on the sidelines until Archer found him, and really pretty loose coverage by the Lions secondary.
Scoreboard clock saying 37 seconds, a 27-yard gain for Don Blair, the product of the University of Calgary, former Heck Crichton Trophy winner, 1995 when the Dinos won the national championship. Archer over to the other side for Troy Mills on the first down, and he's still in bounds, still going down inside the 35-yard line with 27 seconds on the clock.
Well, now David Archer, with these 2 back-to-back plays, has an opportunity to go for the touchdown. He's easily in field goal range, so now as a quarterback your mentality changes. You start thinking touchdown, no turnover, but you start to think touchdown instead of field goal. And what a great play by Troy Mills. It seemed like the BC Lions just relaxed here a little bit, and you know they're thinking, well, he's going to go out of bounds and try and stop the clock, but he crossed them up by cutting back into the field of play.
Archer, and that one bounces into the hands of Jamie Richardson.
Sorry, he took a shot from Johnny Scott, and they're having a little chat about that. Johnny Scott gave him a little foot massage as he got up off the ground.
Archer doesn't look too happy about it.
Hey, Johnny Scott's not the guy I'd really want to get into it with.
Another look at
Johnny
what happened.
Scott right there. Sorry, and you'll see at the end of this. And boy, the right guard Jose Munoz has just had his hands full with either Chaders or Scott, and he has not had a good first half in his pass protection.
Munoz actually filling in for Brett McNeil, who's basically gone for the season after suffering a knee injury. That pass is completed down to the 15-yard line to Calvin Williams. An easy field goal range, even easier now, 7 seconds on the clock, another first down.
And Edmonton Eskimos will take a timeout with 7 seconds to go, and probably, I would assume, talk over on the sidelines whether they want to just take the field goal now or take one shot at the end zone. I mean, with 7 seconds to go, I always remember playing with Ron Lancaster in Saskatchewan. We used to play these drills in practice of how many plays we could get off in 23 seconds or whatever, and we'd have the stopwatch out there. And I was always amazed at how quickly he could get a play off. And, you know, some coaches, and as in this case, Case Stevens is saying, you know, I'm not going to take a chance. But I remember back in the days in Saskatchewan, with 7 seconds, we'd have said, 2 plays easy.
That's ours.
Yeah, no, we really would have. But seems like coaches today are very reluctant to do that. And, you know, I mean, in the NFL, it's different. The clock keeps going. But here, the clock would stop. And I don't know. I'd take a shot at it.
Those Saskatchewan teams of the 70s, they seem to have the patent on the exciting finishes. And this time they are not going to try to run any other plays with 7 seconds on the clock. It is a first down. And Fleming 2 for 2. We'll try another one here from 22 away. And it is good. He is 3 for 3. And another 3 points on the board for the Eskimos, who go up by a converted touchdown at 10-3, even though they don't score one. And have not scored one in this game. 7-point lead. They were behind 3-0. They have answered back.
Well, I think Kay Stevenson should be very pleased with the performance of his team. I mean, with those early turnovers, he could have been in trouble. I mean, he clearly could have been down 14-0, but they have fought back. The defense has held the BC Lion offense that, I mean, the media out here and everybody in the province of British Columbia said is going to be an explosive group, which they may be, but so far they only have 3 points to show, and I think Edmonton has done a real nice job in the first half.
On his first drive, Archer threw an interception to Jocelyn Borgella, and they got into field goal range, BC did, but Louis Pasaglia put it off an upright. And then the second time, it was intercepted by Glenn Rogers, one that got away from Archer, but they only came up with the 3 points. So twice deep in Edmonton territory, and they only come up with the 3, the only 3 they have of this game.
And you don't know what a lift that is for a quarterback and the offense to make those early mistakes and have your defense bail you out. I mean, you know, it just makes you want to try a little bit harder, which Archer has, and he's come back with a couple of good drives, and certainly did a great job to get the field goal there by Fleming when they were deep in their own territory with 45 seconds remaining.
And the 2 newcomers in the backfield, he's made good use of, hasn't he? Williams and Troy Mills, his old teammate, as they just punch one down. And that is just down to the 44-yard line.
And that running back terror, Noah Cantor, tries to take it back.
Another ex-Argonaut on this BC Lion team, the last one to touch the ball on a first half that's seen some good plays, but no touchdowns. The Edmonton Eskimos leading Adam Rita and the BC Lions 10-3 at the half. Back to CFL Live Control.
You're watching CFL Live. We're at the half. Here's your host, James Duthie.
All right, welcome back. No, I'm not Vic Rauter. No, this is not the World Cup. But hey, kicking has been the story. Nothing but field goals so far. 10-3, Edmonton. Sean Fleming has 3 of them. And guys, I don't think any of us expected a 10-3 game, especially 3 points out of the Lions.
No, not at all. But I think what's interesting about the BC Lions is, once again, you got to look at their personnel. They're different offensively than Edmonton, in particular in this game. BC is a big play team. You look at the hitch passes, you look at the fact that they can go deep at any point and get a one-on-one opportunity with the speed of Shipman and the speed of Jimmy Cunningham. Edmonton has had the great success really running in between the tackles and really being much more conservative, dumping the ball off over the defensive linemen in between the linebackers. They've been able to sustain the drives. But if you talk about quick scoring ability, that's still the BC Lions. A football game like this can turn around very quickly, Eric, for one reason. That is the speed of the BC Lions.
Chris, you're right. BC does have great speed. Even though they don't have a touchdown, that's evident. We've talked a lot about the offense, though. Another place where BC has much better speed is on the defensive side of the ball. Their front 7 is very athletic, but that comes at a price. They're very small. Virgil Robertson, David Benefield, Kelly Sims. Edmonton, I think, has done a nice job of running right at them, north and south. They're controlling the ball. One other thing, Kay Stevenson's taken a lot of criticism or a lot of kidding about his affection for old gold miners. You look at Mills in the first half, he looks pretty good. Maybe Kay's smarter than some people thought.
Right, now the BC Lions with all their speedsters, but only 3 points to show for it so far. 10-3, the Eskimos leading this one at the half. And we'll be back with more coming up right after this. All right, welcome back. We are showing you every single game in this first week of the CFL season. 2.5 down, 1.5 to go. And tomorrow night, we've got another good one. The Argonauts and Rough Riders in a Grey Cup rematch. Now, Don Matthews, the biggest concern for him is at quarterback, where he has 2 rookies.
One's at the end of the season, and we knew everything about everybody. Right now, we're going in with a couple of rookie quarterbacks. I think the major difference is the fact that the quarterbacks are inexperienced, and we don't know exactly what we're going to get from them, but we do know what we're going to get from everyone else.
All right, and those quarterbacks are Nealon Green and Jay Barker. We know they are not Doug Flutie, Eric, but can they get the job done?
James, I think, clearly they can, but anytime you're playing with two rookie quarterbacks, there's going to be an adjustment period. They're very different. Jay Barker is a rookie in the Canadian Football League, but he does have experience in the National Football League. Nealon Green, a ton of athletic ability, tremendous potential, but he is a true rookie, straight out of Clemson in an option offense. It's a tough call for Don Matthews, but Don's batting average is pretty good. I suspect he'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer, so he'll make a call that may turn out to be a pretty good one. But what would you do, Chris?
You know what I would do? I'd rotate them. I'd start out with Jay Barker. I'd go from him. I'd go to Nealon Green. The reason being is, let's say you go with Jay Barker the first two series of the game, that defense, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, says, okay, this is the package we're going to use against him. That third series, you throw Nealon Green in there. You know what? They got to go vanilla. They got to go with a nice set defense. Then you throw back Jay Barker. Then you throw back Nealon Green. And here's the big issue. Both quarterbacks gain experience under pressure situations. Matthews will set these guys up for the second half of the football season because there's no guarantee that they're not going to play even more football. But I'd rotate them and dictate to the offense or do the defense rather than allow the defense to dictate to the Argos. Be aggressive in how you do it.
Well, I think the key is to put the quarterback in a situation where he's not expected to carry the offense. I think that's really the key. You look like a guy, if he goes with Barker, what you do, you've got two great athletes offensively, Darryl Mitchell and Michael Pinball Clemens. Get the ball in their hands. Whether you do it with screens or just short routes, whatever you do, get the ball in their hands and let them be athletes in the open field and let the quarterbacks get a feel and flow for the game.
All right, now Chris, Saskatchewan also has some question marks at quarterback and everywhere else.
Well, they really do. I mean, Saskatchewan is the football team that went to the Western Final and won a lot of games on emotion. What Saskatchewan needs to do, in one sense, is prove that they can win more than 8 football games. They need a 10-win season, a 12-win season. So going into the playoffs, they have a little bit more confidence, and they have to look at this season as a package of a positive season rather than just the playoffs. But you're right. There still is a question at quarterback. There's a question in Canadian talent. It was a big move to let Bobby Jurison go, and I can understand why Matthews did it. Not so much because of what Bobby Jurison can do, the fact that Bobby Jurison is not going to make mistakes. He has seen every fullback come at him. He knows every blocking technique. He's seen every sprint pass his way. He knows how to pursue properly inside, outside. He's not going to overrun a play. He's not going to underrun a play. I think it's going to be really interesting in Saskatchewan, and I'm very confident, Eric, they're going to have 30,000 people there for this particular football game.
Well, it's been a great story in Regina this week, Chris, and it's always easy to criticize coaches. In talking to Jim Daly the other day, he told me it was the toughest decision he's ever made as a head coach to release Bobby Jurison. It's one that could come back to haunt him, but as a head coach, when you sit in that seat, you're paid to make the tough calls, and he made the one that he thought was in the best interest of that club. The one thing about playing in Regina, we've all talked about Saskatchewan and their changes in the offseason, and most of us have predicted them last. But when you play at Taylor Field, there's always a 13th man, and that's those Rider fans, the best fans in the Canadian Football League, and they will make their presence felt tomorrow night, James.
And I bet Bobby Jurison is just licking his lips to get back there. Now, Toronto won the Grey Cup. 47-23 was the final, but of course the Riders won't have to chase Doug Flutie around all night. Argos and Riders tomorrow night from Taylor Field. We'll be right back. Well, we saw flashes of all that speed that Jimmy the Jet Cunningham has in that first half, but for our key play of the half, well, it's not the way Jimmy the Jet wants to get on the highlight show at halftime. Little pass into the middle. And Damon Allen will find him. Just a simple cross in. Jimmy the Jet will make the grab, and he's going to get down to the 1-yard line. We're thinking, sure, touchdown for BC. But Jimmy isn't finished yet, doesn't like the late hit, and ooh, Eric, that is a costly penalty and not a very smart penalty.
As I said earlier, real simple. It's a stupid play. It's a selfish play. It's putting your own emotions ahead of the team's collective good, Chris.
And here's my question is, what happens now? How do you discipline a player in this modern age so he doesn't have a situation like that? You know what? It doesn't come from management. It doesn't come from the coach. It comes from the other players. When they watch films tomorrow, and if this is a real key determiner in who wins this football game, other players have to say, hey, Jimmy, what the heck are you doing? We're in this together. You got to keep your emotions together because you're affecting us, and we only have 18 games to play to position ourselves in playoffs. The players take responsibility more than the coaches and the management does, James.
Well, now, there were a couple of penalties like that for the Lions in the first half. Is that just lack of discipline or what?
Possibly so. I mean, when you think about the emotions in a football game, sometimes they do get out of hand. But you can't really expect the coaches to discipline players. The relationship between the other players in terms of how they're going to win the football game is critical. So the emotions are a part of the game, but it's something you just got to control, James. You really do. You got to think before you react.
All right, Adam Rita with a couple of problems to worry about at the half. Lack of offense is one. He's only got 3 points, and also a lack of discipline from his team. 10-3, Eskimos leading the Lions at the half.
Welcome back. Getting set for the second half, and a look at the numbers. Leif Pettersson in the first half. David Archer with a rough start, but things certainly picked up in that second quarter.
Well, sure did. 184 yards passing for him and 11 first downs. That's great. The stat that really bothers me for the BC Lions is that one right there. They had essentially good field position the entire half except for one drive, and have only 4 first downs with the kind of personnel that they have on offense. I think at halftime, they're probably going to obviously try and iron that out, because that kind of productivity just won't get it done.
3 field goals and a single for the Eskimos. So Sean Fleming's been busy accounting for all the points as he puts it on the tee here to get this second half underway in a 10-3 lead.
You know, this is a good opportunity for the BC Lions to begin the third quarter offensively and try to get something going. I think this is going to be a key drive for them in this game, because they've been pretty flat.
Al Shipman goes to take it. Little confusion there, but he does have the football. Across the 30, spinning around at the 35, and he is taken down there. No more at about the 33-yard line. Rio Wells involved. So Damon Allen comes on again. Well, I see some traits, Leaf, of last year where they have the great promise, and the numbers for Allen aren't bad, but they still aren't moving the football, as you pointed out.
Well, I think you look at 7 completions and only 67 yards. That's, you know, not the way you would like to have a half. And for David Archer, forget about the 2 interceptions. Those happened early. But 11 of 18 and 184. I thought he bounced back tremendously well and had a great second quarter. And, you know, he's back and he's comfortable. And clearly he's ahead in the quarterback comparison.
One of the few times Allen stands under center. He operated out of the shotguns throughout much of that first half. And that one handed off to Jamal Willis gets essentially nothing. It'll be 2nd and 10 for the BC Lions to start off this half.
And the BC Lions have not functioned very well in their conversion rate on 2nd and 10 in the first half. And, you know, I think obviously a key for them in the second half will be what kind of first down production can they get. They have not converted well at all.
So no surprise he stands back in the shotgun again with 2 left and 4 right. 6 sent out for Allen. Under pressure, steps up, calls his number again. He does that so well. And he gets the first down close to midfield, about the 52-yard line of BC.
Very similar to one of his runs in the first half when he reads. Again, this is what he sees before the snap of the football. He gets a pre-read on man-to-man coverage, and he knows if he can get through the first wave as he did earlier in the game. Look at that. Tons of open room. Look at the defenders chasing people. They don't even know that he's running the football yet, and, you know, that's his experience to see it and take advantage of it.
Just adding to his totals is the leading rushing quarterback in CFL history, handing off that time to Robert Drummond, and does get across midfield and gains about 5 yards for the Lions.
That was a pretty tough 5 yards. I mean, that was a lot of spinning and weaving and banging to get 5 yards.
Robert Drummond, 2 Grey Cups with the Argonauts, and before that with Don Matthews with the Baltimore Stallions, I should say, I'll get it right, and a backup essentially to Mike Pringle. That's the talent they had running the football in Baltimore. A luxury to have Pringle and Drummond, 2 outstanding players in this league today. They fake the handoff, and Allen finds Al Shipman and finds another first down across the 50-yard line.
You know, Ryan, we'll go back and have a look at Robert Drummond here. One of the things that I always liked about him, he grew up in Syracuse, New York, and he said, you know why I'm so good and why I'm tough to tackle and all these things? And I said, I don't know. He said, we played suicide football. Do you know what suicide football is?
No idea.
Suicide football, they didn't have a whole lot of grass fields where he lived in Syracuse, so they played on the pavement, tackle football on the pavement.
Tackle football on the pavement.
And he said, obviously, I didn't want to see the pavement too many times, called suicide football. That was a pretty good story.
That'll keep you motivated to stay on your feet, as he's after doing a nice catch by Jim Sandusky. his first catch coming back as a player. He was an assistant coach. He is an assistant coach, but because of the injury to Mike Trevathan, he gets the start like the Sandusky of old.
Yeah, and one of the better throws of the evening by Damon Allen. See how he steps up on the front foot? When you do that, you certainly have some velocity on the football, and Sandusky goes high in the air to make that catch. I think as a receiver, what you always wonder when you haven't played for a long time is, you know, all the skills, the easy skills like running good pass routes and catching the ball are there, but how well are you going to take the hits and the punishment? And Sandusky was not reluctant at all to go high in the air to make that catch, and he's awfully close to the first down. You know, when you look at choices, you know, people will say, well, you know, why would they bring a guy back like him who's essentially out of football? But you know what, when you think about it, I mean, he's in great shape. He's as good as in as good a shape as anybody on the team, and you know, he's got great experience. He's not going to make mistakes, and that sometimes is as much as anything is this guy won't hurt you. He won't run the wrong pattern, and you know, I guess you know, it's the logical choice to have him in there. You know, obviously when Mike Trevathan is healthy, he'll come back in, but pretty easy decision for Adam Rita.
So they're close to another first down. And if they get it, it would be the third one of this drive. They got only 4 in the first half. And it looks like Damon Allen has managed to sneak through and move the sticks again.
Now, you remember how I was on T.J. Rubley yesterday in Winnipeg for some pretty, what I thought were pathetic quarterback sneaks? That was a good quarterback sneak by a guy who knows how to run the football.
And who's been doing it for some time.
And not a knock on Rubley. I thought he played great yesterday. But, I mean, Allen, I mean, did you see how quickly he got down underneath his lineman? I mean, no doubt as to whether he was going to get a yard or so.
So it is the third first down of this drive, just one shy of all they got in that first half. BC's offense and Adam Rita seem to be rejuvenated in the locker room.
Well, I said, you know, it was a great opportunity for them to begin the third quarter on offense and try and reestablish some momentum that they lost early in this game.
And they do the shuffle again, but this time Edmonton is wise to it. Willie Pless, the master, makes another tackle, one of many. The leading tackler in CFL history puts down Jimmy Cunningham.
Yeah, and this is experience. They've seen this play already. Here's Pless, and as Cunningham is coming across, he's seen this play for the second time. The first time it was successful. The second time, tough to fool a veteran like Pless. You see, he doesn't even move with that fake to Drummond. He's moving as soon as he sees Cunningham come across. That's where he's making a beeline. You wonder why he's the defensive MVP 5 years in his career. Those kind of plays are why he's done that.
One of the finest defensive players this game has ever seen, to be sure. Second and long, big test for Allen. Finds Willis. He can't hang on to the football. Incomplete, and it'll be third down.
Well, again, on second down, a throw that, you know, you have to kind of question. This would have, had Willis been able to catch this football, he still had about 10 yards to go for a first down. And, you know, when you're second and 13 or 14, unless the defense totally makes you throw underneath, which Edmonton's didn't in that case, I don't know why you don't go downfield.
So a different looking BC offense, but the same result. They move the ball, but it's a field goal try, and it's a long one for Louis Pasaglia, 48 yards away, and it is wide. It may not have been deep enough anyway, and Gizmo Williams will just get down on the knee and concede the point. So not a great day for field goals for Louis Pasaglia, the veteran. Another point on the board, however, for the Lions. Down by 6. It is 10-4. Edmonton gets the ball. And Louis Pasaglia missed the field goal, and because of it, the Edmonton Eskimos will scrimmage from where the ball last was for BC, just outside the 40-yard line of the Eskimos. Dave Archer, first drive of the second half. They've been able to move the ball at times well, but haven't found the end zone yet. This guy was busy in the first half, Calvin Williams. You can call him Calvin or CJ, but a welcome addition to this Edmonton offense so far. He has been impressive and gets the first down there.
Boy, nice job by the offensive line for C.J. Williams there. I mean, Big Bruce beating 62. Jose Munoz flying around the corner. I mean, talk about the old Green Bay sweep. great block on the corner by Bruce Beaton, and probably the best executed running play that the Edmonton Eskimos have had tonight.
Beaton, one of the additions up front for Edmonton, got him as a free agent from the Montreal Alouettes. Play action fake. Archer in trouble again, but gets out of it under pressure, dumps it off, complete. Mark Tobert, his first catch. And he gets inside the 40-yard line down to the 37. Archer getting into some trouble, but getting out of it. We saw a play like that in the first half early on.
You know, his mobility was always what I felt somewhat underrated. I mean, he's not going to beat you downfield with great speed or anything, but that's about the third time tonight that he's been able to avoid the rush by himself, some precious extra seconds, and then find a receiver, and that's a big play by Tobert. So back-to-back first downs for the Eskimos, and they're on the move.
Archer 12 for 19, 204 yards. Williams with it to the right side and cutting back and across the 30. Another good gain on the ground for the Eskimos, showing good balance in their offense so far in this game.
What the Eskimos are doing, this is the same play that Williams ran to the left side. They just run it to the right side. Watch the two guards. They're the key. They're going to run, pull, and they just lead Williams around the corner. Good blocks back by the outside guys. And when you can get two guards out as clean as the Eskimos do, you're going to have some success with your running game. That is a well-executed running play again.
They hand off again, keep it on the ground. It was second and short, and this will be interesting, as the gain is at most for Troy Mills 2 yards. Actually, they indicate third down on the sticks, down at about the 28.5-yard line.
Well, the Eskimos will gamble on third down. They've come up a little bit short, and, you know, I like to call. I think early in the season, you need to find out how productive your short yardage team is going to be. And, you know, here's a good test for Kay Stevenson's team tonight as they're inside the 30-yard line. And, you know, I think it's a good shot. Go for it.
And is this where they would miss a guy like Tony Burse?
Oh, I don't think there's any question. Burse is like a 245-pound fullback.
He's out for half the season with a broken forearm. Short yardage here. Williams has been good and has the first down. So in the absence of Burse, the newcomer, Calvin Williams, has been very effective as the sticks move for the Eskimos again. Down to the 27-yard line.
Well, the key is to get the blocks right here. There's Chaters and Scott. You've got to get them, and then Bruce Beaton leads it up in for Calvin Williams. And again, a nicely executed running play in short yardage. And for Kay Stevenson, it's a good thing. You need to find out early in the season if his guys up front are going to be able to get that yardage, and they picked it up quite easily.
Eskimos on the move. Over the middle for Williams again, and down to the 20-yard line. Williams has been busy on this drive with the catch that time. He's been running it before.
But again, as he did in the second quarter, David Archer mixing things up quite nicely. The two sweeps, and now he hits Williams. He slots him and hits him with the quick pass. It's been a nice drive, mixed it up well, and really kept the BC Lion defense off balance without having to throw the ball too far downfield.
The experience of Dave Archer is starting to show after a shaky start in this game. Finds an open man. It's Don Blair. Turns it up and gets down to the 5-yard line. And the Eskimos once again are knocking on the door. First and goal, Edmonton.
And Myron Wise did a nice job to actually rub off Don Blair's man as Blair broke to the inside, and David Archer with good protection steps up. Nice throw, and Blair wide open. You'll see Myron Wise picked off his defender, Rashid Gale, and again, another well-executed. I mean, it's a beautiful drive.
And as good as the secondary of BC is, those Eskimo receivers have found openings, haven't they?
Well, he picked his man. That's why he was so open.
It's happened several times, and Williams marches in for the first touchdown of the game, and the Eskimos increase their lead. Congratulations from Archer to a number of his teammates, and this is the guy who helped get them down the field. He finishes it off, Leaf.
Well, and the key here's Troy Mills. It's the counter, one step back, but Mills will lead up, and he's the blocker that will make the key block at the point of attack for his running mate, C.J. Williams. There it is. He takes out Jason Bryant, and again, that's as good a drive as you're going to see from an execution standpoint. It was flawless, and you know, C.J. Williams did a lot of work on that drive, gets the touchdown, but Troy Mills made the key block on that final play.
His first CFL game, and he gets a touchdown. The first one of this. It's converted by Fleming to be a 16-4, 17-4 lead. And Archer has to be feeling better about the way things are turning out. Edmonton taking control of this game. The Eskimos' first drive of the second half results in a touchdown. 7 plays, 69 yards, and Williams finishes it off.
Yeah, he had almost half the yardage on that scoring drive. Pretty drive, and David Archer, give him credit. He really had the BC Lion defense off balance, and you have to think, Rod, it's only, you know, there's still 5 minutes to go in the third quarter, but with 17-4, we kind of reached a critical point in the game where the BC Lions moved it on their last drive but only got a point. I think they have to answer quickly because Edmonton is really in a nice rhythm right now.
Well, BC has shown it can move the ball in this half on that one drive, but they always seem to get stalled around the 40-yard line as Shipman takes it, gets it across to the 37.
I think what Damon Allen has to do a little more on this drive is to get the ball downfield. He's been very happy to run it a little bit himself and throw the ball off underneath the coverage. You see, he's only got 83 yards total in passing. I think he's got to try to stretch that defense out just a little more.
There were times last year when BC was showing its ugly side that Allen would have good numbers. It was a similar story. They could move the ball a bit, but they just weren't getting the points. And that has been that kind of game for them in this one, their season opening. Only 4 on the board as Drummond takes the ball, and Drummond is buried by Benny Goods.
Benny Goods was shot out of a cannon on that play. I mean, you know, there's some great tackles in this league, and you're seeing some tonight with Benny Goods, Chaders, and Johnny Scott. But, I mean, here's Benny Goods right here. I mean, it's like he is jet propelled. This play takes a little longer to develop. Again, a counter. But there comes Goods right up through there and makes the hit in the backfield. Another tackle for a loss, which he has so many of throughout the course of the season.
5-time Western All-Star in his 9th season. Came aboard in 1990 with the Eskimos as the whistle blows as the play begins. On a 2nd and 11.
BC number 9.
And this is a very unenthusiastic offense right now because, you know, you're late getting out of the huddle. You're 2nd and 11. Now you're 2nd and 16 or 17. And this is not a good situation for an offense that has been reluctant to really get the ball downfield.
So that makes it 2nd and 16. As Allen operates at his shotgun again, throws it over the middle, complete to Sandusky. His 2nd catch of the day, gets it up to the 39, but that is pretty much the original line of scrimmage. And Trent Brown has the stop, makes sure he doesn't go any further.
It's a pretty easy place to play defense. 2nd and 16. Edmonton's got a great group. They played solid defense tonight, have given up very, very little to the BC Lions. And, you know, that is a very quick 2 and out again and giving it back to a red-hot Edmonton offense.
Not what the Lions need, of course, down by 13 points, and the momentum clearly swinging on the side of the green, gold, and white.
It's been swinging since about midway through the 2nd quarter.
And Pistaglia couldn't get it away. A flag goes down, but he was all wrapped up. It would have been blocked, so he didn't even bother trying to kick it. Errol Martin, number 38. And he has had trouble. Edmonton has put pressure on him before. They blocked a punt in the first half.
Foul. Piling on. Edmonton 92. The dead ball foul. 15-yard penalty against Edmonton. First down.
Well, they still get the ball. It's going to cost them 15 for the roughing on Robert Brown piling on, but Errol Martin blew through. They've already blocked a punt tonight with Rio Wells in the first half, and now another miscue in the punt protection by the BC Lions. And, you know, things are going from bad to worse right now. And, boy, expectations so high out here in Vancouver, and the team is just not playing well tonight.
Edmonton football. It's on the BC 43. And the Eskimos with Kay Stevenson in his first as their head coach with a 13-point lead. With 3:30 to go, it's an interesting situation. Quarter number 3 for the Edmonton Eskimos because the offense has been coming to life with David Archer. And their last drive went into the end zone. A good drive finished off by Calvin Williams. They seem to have found a groove. It'll be interesting to see if they can build on it again. Out of the shotgun on first down. Archer over top, but good coverage there by Jason Bryant, who buries his man. It's Williams again with the ball, but not much of a gain, about a yard.
Well, you know, you talk about critical points. We talked earlier that maybe the last series offensively was critical. How about this one for the defense? You trail by 13 and your offense has done little or nothing tonight. The pressure is square on the shoulders of this BC Lion defense to try and give up maybe only 3 points in this situation.
It is 2nd and 9. Early movement on the line. Could be BC offside as Archer is wrapped up by Johnny Scott at the 51-yard line. But the movement I saw was on the far side of the Lions line where they drawn off.
Offside, BC number 45. 2nd down repeated.
David Benefield called for the offside. He moved early, so after the sack, another good break for Edmonton.
Well, David Benefield out of the corner of his eye. See, Benefield is right here. He sees that receiver jogging up to the line of scrimmage, and I think that makes him jump a little bit. There you see he goes, and you know, you talk about mistakes in a game. I mean, here you get the sack, maybe out of field goal range, and you know, all of a sudden Archer's got 2nd and 4.
From the Lions' 37-yard line. Archer fires it across. And we've got the completion to Jamie Richardson, number 5, on the far sideline. And that'll move the sticks again. Another Eskimo first down. A gain of 13 on the play.
Well, here's the young receiver, Jamie Richardson, to the top of the screen, and he just kind of goes down and pivots to the inside and then breaks outside. There's a little pivot right there. Back out, and Dave Donaldson was out on the corner trying to defend, but Richardson picks up a nice first down, and here that penalty now it's given Edmonton new life.
Hand off to Troy Mills. His first carry of the half. It's going nowhere. They string it out nicely. And no gain at all for Mills. Benefield in there. So too is Glenn Rogers.
Boy, the pressure is just building and building on this defense, though, isn't it? I mean, you know, the one mistake, but essentially, you know, they're playing well tonight. I just think they're on the field too much. It's going to wear them down, especially if you get the, now they made a nice play in the running game there, but Edmonton's pounded that ball at them pretty good in the 3rd quarter here, and it's a hot night in BC Place, and you have to think that maybe that will take its toll. It's a lot easier to play offense in a hot night than defense.
Lions D has been on the field a lot in the second half. Another complete pass for Archer to Don Blair again. Fights his way for first down yardage down at the 15-yard line.
Well, again, another gambling situation for Kay Stevenson. This time it's going to be a little longer, but what an effort by Blair to try and get the necessary yards. He's about 8 yards away right now, and he's fighting, takes on the hit of Rashid Gale. But there you see, although he picked up some extra yards, his foot had gone out of bounds. And again, I think, well, at this time, Kay Stevenson, boy, it's only the same as it was the last time, and he chooses to take this to what should be the sure 3 points and try to get up 20-4.
And why not? It would be a 16-point lead, and Fleming has been on the mark. 3 for 3 in this game.
Well, you can't fault his strategy because, I mean, he knows the BC offense has done very little, so why not try to build up a sure lead and take the sure 3?
And it's getting late in the quarter. And it's up and it's through again, 4 for 4 with 42 seconds to go until quarter time. And it is a 16-point lead for the Edmonton Eskimos. I talked about some of the impressive things that they have done in the past. 26 straight years making the playoffs, 26 straight years at 500 or better. And I believe they have a long string about the same of winning season openers. You can change the faces, the coaches, whatever, but the Eskimos have just seemed to do it every year, and they're certainly in the driver's seat in this football game.
Well, you talk about season or openers, 20 straight years, and this would be 21, of winning their season opener. How's that for consistency?
It is, and they've had the close ones over the years. Last year against Calgary, they had to come from behind, and they took that one by a single point.
23-22.
23-22.
Just ask me. I got it all here.
You got all the information. I don't know if you remember a game against BC in their third game, their first loss of the season. They turned over the ball. They fell behind 31-0 in the rain at Commonwealth Stadium. The Lions actually, they played them 3 times. BC won the first 2 games. But in October, when things fell apart for the Lions, they were humiliated at Commonwealth 41-7 by the Eskimos, and that was certainly a sign of things to come, especially for BC.
Well, you know, they play each other 4 times this year, and
if BC wants to do some business in the West, they got to think about Calgary and Edmonton. The Eskimos look like they'll be a team to be reckoned with as Jimmy the Jet is taken down at the 20-yard line. Good special teams play. Trent Brown.
Well, Rod, the quarterbacks again, Dave Archer really moving ahead. His performance tonight, and again, forget about those interceptions. They happened early. The rust was still on. The rust is off now, and 17-24. That's a great night. And Damon Allen, well, you know, 10-15. The percentage is great, but 90 yards, pretty pathetic at this stage.
Archer 6 for 6 in the second half. And you talked about those turnovers. I guess the key to that, they really weren't costly. Only 3 points came from them. Out of the shotgun. Standing back at his 11, Allen finds Al Shipman. Up to the 30-yard line and close to a BC first down. It's Tom Gerhardt in on the tackle. Gerhardt, one of the guys who had played for Kay Stevenson in Sacramento and San Antonio.
Yeah, he played in Hamilton in 1996, sat out all of last year, and one of the 4 players who didn't play football last year who are playing for Kay Stevenson this year.
This will be the last play of the third quarter, a quarter that has been very good for the Edmonton Eskimos. As Robert Drummond takes it, and on 2nd and short, picks up the first down. So the Lions will be on the move as we head to the fourth quarter, up at the 35-yard line, and that's where they'll resume when we come back. Eskimos with the big lead after 3. Let's head back to CFL Live Control.
You're watching CFL Live, and we're at the quarter. Here's your host, James Duffy.
Hi, and welcome back. Well, the Eskimos very dominant in that third quarter. And I tell you what, Kay Stevenson has been criticized in the past, perhaps unjustly, for preferring an NFL-style offense. Lots of runs up the gut. But I tell you what, Eric, that NFL-style offense, if that's the case, is working so far.
Well, James, you're right. It doesn't matter what your style is or what league you're in. The objective is the same, to win. And Edmonton's ahead, what, 20-4 at the end of the third quarter. Last year, Edmonton could not run the football effectively, and it finally caught up with them in the Western Division Final against Saskatchewan. They had a first down, a goal to go from the 1-yard line. They didn't get it in. Tonight, Chris, I'm really impressed with the way they're running the football.
They're running the football effectively, and 3 things happen when you run the football effectively. Number 1's obvious, time of possession. You keep the football in your hands, out of their hands. Number 2, you change the emotions of the game. Pass blocking is passive-aggressive. Run blocking is aggressive. The offensive line for the Edmonton Eskimos love it. And number 2, the defense, they're afraid to take risks, because if they bring a linebacker or a secondary personnel, you get past that defensive line, hit that seam, that's a big game, Eric. You run the football effectively, you will win the game.
All right, special teams also a factor. BC, a block punt, a blocked field goal, 2 missed field goals. That's cost them a whole bunch, Eric.
Well, mistakes in the kicking game have been critical tonight. I mean, Louis Pasaglia missed the long field goal, but the early one just sort of set the tempo when he hit the upright.
All right. Chris?
Well, the thing about special teams, it's one part of the football game that has been rehearsed time and time again. And sometimes early in the season, the emphasis isn't there because you don't see the mistakes in the exhibition games and in the in the early games as you would later on. You can see football teams change their emphasis more towards the special teams as the season go on, because they start counting those mistakes and how those mistakes, James, cost football games.
All right, tough start for 44-year-old Louis Pasaglia in this his, what, 25th or something like that CFL season. All right, let's send it back to Rod and Lee for fourth quarter action.
Thank you very much, James. Well, a strange turn of events here at BC Place. We called it quarter time. There was no time left in the clock, but they ran another play. A play out to Robert Drummond, and on that play, Edmonton defensive back Rio Wells got hurt.
Well, he got nailed. We're going to let this play run just a little bit more, and if we can, to freeze it as Drummond moves to the outside. Freeze it right there. Here's Rio Wells, and Jimmy Cunningham will come from just to the right of your screen, and watch the block right here. I mean, he absolutely cartwheels Rio Wells, and he is just now, after about 4 or 5 minutes, getting up, and he's going to go on the cart. And you know, he really got nailed low. I mean, it was a clean block. A lot of players say in the open field like that, you don't need to go. You could see Rio Wells, he's looking for Cunningham. I mean, there was nothing illegal. It wasn't a clip, but there's kind of an unwritten rule. Boy, I don't know. If I'm Jimmy Cunningham and I'm 5'6", I'm not blocking somebody up around their helmet either. So anyway, Rio Wells, I don't know if he's hurt seriously, but he's not a happy camper right now.
He was chomping at the bit to get his chance to play, and with Kay Stevenson, he was on their practice roster last year, and he went to Fresno State, so technically his second year. You classify him a rookie, but he blocked a punt earlier in the game. Has looked pretty good in that Edmonton secondary. Out of it now, though. There's Allen running around with all kinds of time, and finally finds a man. And it's Jimmy Cunningham who just threw that other block on Rio Wells with the catch up at midfield.
Well, Damon Allen sure bought himself a lot of time to find Jimmy Cunningham. You'll see Allen initially, he wants to run. I mean, he sees everything jammed up, and now, whoop, can't get in there, no room. I might as well buy myself a little more time, and to Cunningham's credit, he made himself a good target and took some punishment.
By the way, with Wells out, Chris Hardy's playing safety, and Trent Brown has moved over to halfback. The defensive back, and Damon Allen calling his number again, and another good gain on first down, about 5 or 6 yards. The stats in the third quarter, see once again drastically favoring Edmonton, especially after what they did in that third quarter.
And you know, even though it's only 63 yards, you know, I think Eric Tillman pointed out very well at the break. I mean, those were a good 63 yards of rushing because they were mixed in nicely with the passing game, and Edmonton is running the football a lot better this year in tonight's game than they did a year ago.
It's 2nd and 4, and another first down. Cunningham takes a late hit. Malcolm Frank moved in, no flag down, and it's a first down BC at the 43-yard line, Edmonton.
Well, I think Damon Allen realizes the sense of urgency right now. His club trails by 16. He really has to make the most of this opportunity once he gets into Edmonton territory, and he's been on the money on a couple of throws to Cunningham, and he's run the ball well himself. And I think if things aren't there initially, you're going to see Allen maybe run a little more in this final quarter.
That was part of the cry last year. Should Damon Allen be running more? But he did have a tender knee. Flag on the play. Al Shipman can't hang on to it. Goes off his hands and down into the turf. Roughly where he was running, where the flag initially was thrown.
And when the umpire throws the flag 99 times out of 100, you know what it is.
Holding, BC 57. Penalties declined. 2nd down.
And it's Dan Payne. Big Dan Payne, who with the Argos won a Grey Cup there. Back home in BC and called for the holding. Two left, 4 off to the right for Allen. Pump fake, puts it up, and there isn't a Lion within sight. Within 20 yards as the Boo Birds start to come out for Damon Allen now. Something got mixed up, and it falls closer to an Eskimo than certainly a BC Lion player.
It's a tough call for Adam Rita because this is really out of the range of Lou Pasaglia. 50 yards, you know, 2nd and 10. You know, he's got the tee with him, so he's going to try a field goal, but it's a tough call. I mean, you really can't gamble on 3rd and 10 here, but I mean, maybe do you punt and go for field position, or do you try the field goal? The last time Pasaglia tried from 48, he was well short.
Short and off to the left, as it turns out. It hasn't been a good day kicking field goals for the veteran Pasaglia.
And from this distance, it's a tough kick to cover for the cover team, and Williams has lots of room here.
It falls short again, and Williams takes it out, gets it close to the 20-yard line. So still just the one field goal on the day for Louis Pasaglia with 12:08 to go in the fourth quarter. And the Eskimos still leading by 16, 20-4. You're watching CFL Live.
Welcome back to BC Place. Well, the Edmonton Eskimos may have a 20-4 lead right now, but all the news is not good for them. The injury situation with Rio Wells is not good at all. He has what they're calling a sprained ankle, but the fear is that it might be much worse. It was a nasty hit, as you can see right here, that Cunningham was able to take a shot at him. He was very upset at the bench when he got back, as you might imagine. But for now, his night is through. Back to you guys.
Okay, thank you, David. Looking at that Edmonton bench and Rio Wells and his knee getting wrapped up. Well, that's got to be tough for a guy that was anxious last year to get his start and finally does get it. They're sitting on the practice roster the whole time. First game, good game for him. And that's it, 1st and 10. It for the night anyway. Archer rolling out the other way and dumps it off to Troy Mills for the Edmonton first down. A 16-point lead, 11:50 to go. A little ball control offense to kill the clock and work nicely for them.
Well, I'm sure that's what they would like, but what I really like with the offense tonight is they've shown the BC Lion defense a variety of formations. They've run a great variety of plays with their counters, their sweeps, and now their play-action rollouts. You know, it's early in the season with only 2 preseason games, but already Kay Stevenson, who essentially is in charge of the offense with David Archer, they've put a nice package together tonight.
I think those two, in their years together, coming in, trying to get to know the CFL game, it's really paid off. It did in San Antonio in '95, and that dissolved, and Archer went to Ottawa. But Kay Stevenson, I think, Leaf, took some knocks as an old NFL coach, and maybe difficulty adjusting to the Canadian game, but I think he understood it and certainly understands it better than a lot of people give him credit for.
Well, the knocks early in his CFL coaching career were justified because he wasn't able to adapt quickly. He sure has now, and I don't think there's any question David Archer wouldn't have come out of retirement for any other coach than probably Kay Stevenson. They have a great friendship and a great relationship, and that's why Archer's back playing football.
It's 2nd down and 6, and Archer airs it out. Don Blair's the closest one to it. It's picked off. And it's Rashid Gale taking it back. He was really the closest to it. And still carrying the ball. Good return by Gale. Up over midfield to the BC 50-yard line. And that gives more energy to this crowd than we've heard all night. Archer had a lot on that ball. The closest Eskimo. We see there's a flag down. The flag on the play.
That was a lot of running for Rashid Gale. I mean, that's like a 65, 70-yard sprint one way to get the interception, and then he brought it back a good 50 yards. That's 120 yards of running. No wonder he's puffing on the sidelines.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. After the play, BC 74. First down.
And Dave Chaters given another penalty, his 2nd one for unnecessary roughness, and that drives BC back. Another costly penalty for the Lions. Are back at their 45.
Well, Archer really airs it out in this situation, and Rashid Gale with great coverage and position. Don Blair can't catch up, but now the fun starts, and this was a great return, but a silly penalty again. Here you go. Here's Chaters. That's Archer. Watch, you probably take another shot. That wasn't the penalty there, but again, the Lions shoot themselves in the foot.
Out of the shotgun is Allen. They're back in their own territory to start. Shipman gets it. Al Shipman up at midfield, and could be another BC first down right around that marker. It should be moving the sticks. And it is a first down right at center field.
I think this is a good call. They've gone to the hurry-up offense. You know, there's a little under 10 minutes remaining, and I think to change the flow of the game, this is a good move by Damon Allen.
Working out of the shotgun again and dumping it off, and gets Jimmy the Jet Cunningham, who gets some room and gets outside to pick up another BC first down. The Lions are moving the football.
You know, sorry, Rod, Cunningham can go deep. He's got great speed. But I think this is where he is most effective, is coming across the middle like this. And again, he caught one early in the game, same pattern. And, you know, here he is down at the bottom of the screen. There he is. He just lets everybody clear out. And look at the running room he has. Now he beats to the outside, beats Tommy Henry just with sheer speed and picks up the first down. But No question. He's most dangerous when you get him the ball underneath and let him run with it.
You see the yards gained after the catch, certainly a key for him and how dangerous he is once he gets the football. They have an injured Eskimo player down in the field. It looks like number 38. Yes, Harold Martin.
Well, he's laughing, and it's a hot night here, and, you know, he could be a little tired. And
time to take a little break.
It could be. I mean, I don't see too many guys laugh when they're hurt.
Unless they have a high pain threshold. He does seem to be a little shaken up, but getting off in his own steam. Heading off to the sideline with a little bit of help.
And if he's laughing more often than not with the trainers, he took a hit, you know where.
He had something like that with Greg Battle, I believe, yesterday at Winnipeg. 41-yard line of the Edmonton Eskimos, rather. See Damon Allen's numbers. Excellent, 14-21, but they need touchdowns. They need points. Another completion, 15-22. Al Shipman. He's been busier this drive. Looks like another BC first down. Turning out to be the best drive for the Lions so far in this game. At this point in the game, it means nothing unless they get the 6.
Yeah, and here's Shipman out here. Look at the space. I mean, that's what Allen's looking at. If you're going to lay off my receiver that far, I mean, I can get it to him quickly. Zone coverage, lots of room, and even the ball's not even there that quickly. A block from Andrew English right there to allow Shipman to pick up a few more yards, but, you know, pretty good coverage recognition by Allen. He recognized zone at the snap of the football and knew his receiver would be given lots of room on the outside.
Well, they bring the sticks out, and they do determine that it is not a first down, less than a yard away. So some of the big guys, the extra load comes out in this short yardage situation.
And keep in mind, there has never been a better quarterback in this league than Damon Allen at play action fakes. He is the master at it, and to give his team a lift, you might see something here.
Second down, and call it inches for BC. Just digging in for short yardage. And Allen also pretty good on those keepers. He does get to the 30-yard line and across for another BC first down.
Well, you see how low he gets. I mean, he's a tough guy to stop. I mean, a lot of quarterbacks just stay high when they're doing that sneak and try to fall forward for it. I mean, he has some serious leg drive when he's doing his.
Does he ever?
He's a tough guy to stop because you can't come over the top and try and hit him as a linebacker.
You mentioned the stats, the great career he's had. His greatest success has come, though, in his career with the team that he now faces. The Edmonton Eskimos won 2 Grey Cups there in 2 different stints in Edmonton, in '87 and again in '93. Under pressure, Allen gets out of it and dives across for more yardage on first down. Gets across the 25 down to the 24-yard line. They mark it at the 25.
Yeah, and as I suggested, this is something that he would not hesitate to do in the second half. If things don't develop in a hurry and Benny Good's breathing down on him, you know, he's going to have to do this run. Don't wait for it to happen. Make it happen yourself. I mean, he's terrific at it. I think that'll be the responsibility of Danny Barrett this year to force Allen to run the football. Just say, hey, Damon, take control.
And the shotgun snap goes awry, and it looks like Edmonton has it. Not yet. It's a melee, and it's going to be BC ball, although Jimmy the Jet gets it. It's back at the 50-yard line, so a major loss for the Lions there, but they do still have it. A shotgun snap that got off the fingertips of Damon Allen. It was a little bit high from the center, Scott Hendrickson. Wow. Adam Rita looks on, wondering what happened, but 25-yard loss.
Well, things just haven't gone the right way for Allen tonight. I mean, the Eskimos should have recovered this football, and to his credit, Cunningham came a long way to get it. But again, another drive that comes up with no points.
And what's worse, field position. You see Louis Pasaglia back at his own 50, getting a nice one away for Gizmo, who wisely lets it roll for a single. It just barely gets into the end zone, so another point. But 1 point for BC can't mean a whole lot right now when they need so much more on their drive. It makes it a 20-5 game, but still 15-point lead for the Eskimos. BC just scored, but it's a single point, a 15-point lead for the Eskimos, and Dave Archer must be enjoying his trip back to the CFL. It began in 1993 with Sacramento, then San Antonio. He had a great year there, and then the Ottawa Rough Riders, and a 3-15 season for the Riders. Archer had a pretty good year in spite of that, then went into the broadcast booth. And Leaf, what exactly is going on in that booth?
Some unusual things were going on up there, as I'm sure they were waiting to give some knowledge. I don't know.
We liked having him up in the booth, and it's nice to see him down in the field again as well, starting off at the 35-yard line. This has been a successful debut. The free entry into the league for Dave Archer as he handed it off that time to Calvin Williams, who's had a pretty good night himself in his debut, first time in the CFL.
Well, statistically, they haven't amassed a lot of yardage on the ground, but they have used it very effectively. It's been a good night throwing for Archer, but Calvin Williams with his 60 yards, they've been very strategic. They've come at good times, and although I say, nobody's going to read the box score tomorrow and say, boy, did they ever shove the ball down BC's throat, they have run the ball effectively.
And made the most out of their plays and their yardage, as opposed to BC. Dave Chaters has the football. Turnover BC, so the Lions get a break. Sudden turn of events down at the 35, inside the 35-yard line of Edmonton, as Chaters takes a little run with that ball.
Well, a very simple play up the middle. Looked like Williams is going to have the first down, but watch the pop here, the contact. The ball goes right up in the air, and Dave Chaters is right there to pick it off.
And Chaters never at a loss for an opportunity to have a little run afterwards with that football, and tossing it off into the stands for a fan.
Well, you can't say BC hasn't had their opportunities tonight. Early in the game, they had a chance to score 14 points, only had 3, and now again a turnover, and they're in good shape.
3 to the right. Allen's looking that way, rolling out, under pressure, gets it away, and it's no good. Looking for Jim Sandusky on the sideline. He caught the ball, but he was out of bounds. And 5:55, under 6 minutes to play now in the fourth quarter, and what would appear to be this football game, unless BC can string a couple of scoring drives together, down by 15.
Sandusky with 1 catch on the evening tonight. I thought that Damon Allen might go to him a little more, playing the slot back as opposed to the normal wide receiver position he did play in his great years with the Eskimos. I thought they might try to call his number a little more, but he's only seen 1 reception.
He came to the Lions in 1984, was traded in that deal for Matt Dunnigan back in '88. And some good years in Edmonton, and a good catch there down inside the 20-yard line for Jim Sandusky.
And a great matchup. That time Sandusky was being covered by the middle linebacker Willie Pless, and that certainly is a good matchup for the BC Lions. Sandusky with some shifty work is downfield and comes in on the hook, and Damon Allen picks him out. There's Pless picking him up downfield right now, and a good little move to the inside leaves Pless looking for him.
Out of the shotgun again. Throws it off to the side to Shipman. Spins still on his feet. He's brought down, but not before he picks up another 7 yards for the Lions.
Well, there's no question a sense of urgency now for the Lions to take advantage of the turnover on the fumble by Williams, and Shipman with a good catch. He gets upfield in a hurry. That's what I like. When you're going to throw that quick pass, you need someone to be getting it upfield in a hurry, not dancing around looking for an opening. And even though Shipman's a small guy, he's certainly willing to stick his nose into the traffic.
It was Patrice Denis, backup linebacker, number 37 with the tackle there. And looks like another time count violation. Actually, procedure, sorry, Dan Payne.
Well, it could be both. I mean, Payne, without question, moved early, and a 20-second clock was winding down at the same time.
57. Still second down.
Now, big Dan Payne at 360 pounds. He's not a tough guy to miss when he moves a little before the snap. There he is on the left-hand side, and you see he just got a little excited there.
And at that size, once you get started, there's no stopping in a hurry.
There is no stopping. But again, another penalty, another mistake.
Well, that has been the story as much as anything for BC tonight. Terrible penalties to take. as if there are any good ones, but certainly they have been hurt by that. Another completed pass and inside the 10, but the clock is the enemy, down by 15 and getting down close to the 3-minute mark. Jim Sandusky.
Well, and Sandusky, crafty, he knew exactly where the first down marker was. Now he's either got it or he's about an inch or two short.
You see the gloves in his hand? They're Jim Sandusky gloves, Sandman gloves. You see Danny Barrett there, but another close measurement for the Lions. Sandusky, we talked about it before, how he's marketed the gloves very, very close, just shy of the first down. And we were talking to him before the game, and he was saying how with those gloves now, they're marketed mostly throughout the National Football League, not just the CFL.
Yeah, he's created a nice business.
So it is third down. And short yardage. Inches away. A critical play for Sandusky, Damon Allen, and the Lions. The Eskimo 9-yard line. Keeping it again and getting the first down to keep the drive going. 3:40 now on the clock and counting.
Well, Allen can't waste any time here. Get right to the hurry up. The clock is ticking. These are all precious seconds because they need a couple of scores. They're going to need a touchdown and a 2-point conversion at some point as they trail by 15 points.
A touchdown here, pretty much a must out of the shotgun again. And looking to his right, finding Shipman at the 5. Touchdown, BC.
Well, now the decision is, do you go for 2 now or do you try to go for 2 later? I'd almost kick the extra point right now and, you know, put the pressure on you late in the game if you get the other touchdown, and that's exactly what they're going to do.
I agree, because if you miss it, you're down by 9 and you need 2 more scores, right?
Boy, Shipman, what an effort to get into the end zone, and these are the types of plays that BC's going to need someone to just say, not be denied at the goal line. Cut back right here, and, you know, this is the running back in Al Shipman. That's what he was originally, and, you know, there was no way that Edmonton was going to keep him out.
They needed it, and they got the touchdown, and they do kick the convert. They'll need another TD and a 2-point convert to tie this game, but they are within that. 1 score thanks to Al Shipman. Some good work to get in the end zone. You're watching CFL Live on TSN. It's the custom here at BC Place for the Lumberjack to climb the pole after a Lions touchdown, and he finally gets to do it with 3 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. I bet you he wishes he was a little more tired in this one, but they finally do pick up a TD, and you see the result of the scoring drive. Edmonton's previous scoring drive, but BC getting it in. Al Shipman scoring the touchdown that made it an 8-point game. We've had close games so far. A 3-point game in Winnipeg, a 1-point game in Calgary last night. The Stamps coming back to take it over the Tiger Cats 21-20. They were down by 10 in the 4th quarter. Now BC kicking it off. Brett Anderson, and puts it down to the Giz across the 30, finds an opening and puts his shoulder down. And Brett Anderson, the kicker, and he gets it up to the 45-yard line. Good place to start for the Eskimos. Oh. 3-minute warning issued. 2:55 on the clock. We'll be back. Back in BC, it's still a chance for the Lions because of that touchdown by Al Shipman. And a look at the drive. First the TD here, Damon Allen lead.
Well, I mean, this is the key play. They capitalize, take advantage of the fumble recovery by Dave Chaders, get the touchdown, and, you know, they've put themselves in a position to, if they get the ball back, try to tie the game up to tall order, touchdown and a 2-point convert. But boy, now you look at the test for the Edmonton Eskimos with David Archer. You know, they've had a good 2nd quarter, good 3rd quarter, pretty good 4th quarter, but, you know, hey, it's crunch time, 2:50 and counting, and they have an opportunity to run out this game, but they need first down.
Archer starting under center and handing off to Williams. Calvin Williams, right side, picks up about 3 or 4 yards. As Williams sends a play in, taking advantage of the opportunity there in the sideline from Kay Stevenson. Averaging a little more than 4 yards a carry. And he's also caught some balls tonight. His total yardage must be up around 100 yards as the Lions scrimmage at 2nd down and 6 or 5 from the 48-yard line. Out of the shotgun, and they hand off. And it's Troy Mills with a good gain and a 1st down across the BC 50. Just what you talked about, Leaf. This is what Edmonton needs to put this away.
Well, and this is when you ask your offensive line to dig deep and give you a little extra. It's a draw. They don't want to throw the football, but they handle Johnny Scott and Dave Chaters up front. That's the key when you're going to run the draw up the middle or any play up the middle. And the offensive line, the center Scott Hendrickson, Jamie Terrace and Dan Payne, the 2 guards, turned their men out. And that is a big 1st down for the Eskimos as the clock keeps running.
And the handoff to Williams. Nothing doing. Johnny Scott has him tied up and right down. Might be about a loss of a yard at about the 50-yard line.
Well, the BC Lions now again on a 2nd down situation. The defense, a lot of pressure has been placed on their shoulders tonight.
Adam Rita feeling the heat. It's hot in here. And the Lions are under fire. Edmonton with the ball under 2 minutes now. Williams with the ball. And cutting up. And once again, good work up front by the Lions. And Johnny Scott again to force a 3rd down. Edmonton will have to punt. Dave Chaters and Johnny Scott.
Well, it's interesting here. I mean, they're on the 49-yard line of the BC Lions, and Sean Fleming is definitely going to be punting the football. But it's interesting what his strategy is going to be. Is he going to try to pin the BC Lions deep, or is he going to try to get a single that would essentially rule out the touchdown and the 2-point conversion for the tie? And I think what he's probably going to do, the easier play, is to try to pin the BC Lions deep, and their defense has played well all night long. And I mean, that'd be a heck of a long single. And you know that the Lions aren't going to give it up.
No. On the field tonight, we've had 3 of the best return men in the business. And so far, we have not really had the big play on special teams, the big return.
The good news for Fleming, too, is he's on the left hash mark, which is the easiest hash mark for a right-footed punter to kick it out of bounds should he choose not to kick to Cunningham or Shipman.
Big pressure on. And not a very good kick for Fleming, understandably. Flag down. That was so close to being blocked.
Well, it was Brett Anderson, number 20, who came in and makes contact with Fleming. Now, did he touch the football at all? Because it wasn't a very good punt.
Contacting the kicker, BC number 20.
Well, they're going to call contacting, and boy, oh boy.
Well, that's a hard one to fault the Lions for with the amount of pressure he got on.
Wow, I mean, you can't fault Brett Anderson. He comes right up the middle, and, you know, he's got to take his shot here. You know, the only trouble is he probably hasn't blocked too many punts, because you go to a spot about 3 yards in front of the kicker, not right on top of his leg. You're never going to block it there. I mean, he had a great shot. You have to go after it. His technique was just poor because, you know, you're always taught and coached, and I'm surprised that he wasn't schooled and coached to dive 3 yards in front of the punter, not on top of his leg, because he's always going to kick it up underneath. And, well, once again, an enormous error for the Lions may prohibit their chances to get the ball back and have a chance to tie this game.
It's almost extraordinary that he got so close and made the contact clearly in time, but didn't get a piece of the ball, and because of it, the flag comes out.
Well, I mean, now, you know, Archer's going to take all the time he can, and they're probably going to keep the ball on the ground, and Fleming will have a shot at a field goal here.
The handoff to Williams. Strung out again. Takes a pop, rolls off it, and picks up a couple of more yards.
About the only thing he didn't do well there was stay in bounds and keep that clock going.
Big day of soccer coming up. France 98, our coverage on TSN continuing tomorrow. 10 a.m. Eastern and 7 a.m. Pacific, and Italy versus France. The passion of Italy, and of course the host country going for it as well. What a huge one in Brazil. Defending World Cup champs against Denmark. Got it all for you tomorrow on TSN.
Archer better hurry up and get this play called, because that 20-second clock is Boy, he got it right as it was clicking to 0.
Just barely, and dumps it off and completes the pass to Don Blair. Out of bounds, close to a first down for Edmonton, and if it is, with 1:23 on the clock, you can almost consider putting this one in the books, barring something major happening.
Well, this is going to test Kay Stevenson right here. He's, you know, about not quite a yard short, and, you know, what's he going to do? Is he going to take the 3, or will he try and just ice it by running? And he's going to try and pick up the first down and seal the game right here. I like the call. He had no trouble earlier in the game on short yardage, and, you know, this is a chance now to just ice this game. The clock is running, 1:20.
Well, if they don't get it, their defense has been pretty trustworthy, minus that last drive in this game. They've been pretty good at doing the job. But they keep it. They get the first down, and Edmonton is in great business with 1:08 to go. A new-look Edmonton team, but still must show some promise, and a treat for Edmonton Eskimo fans for 1998. That includes Elaine Warwick, who's in the corporate sales department with the Eskimos, who threw out her back and is on the disabled list, as it were, and the Eskimos wanted me to pass along good wishes to Elaine Warwick and get well soon.
You are a nice guy.
You really think so?
No.
Why are you always flashing me those?
I don't know. Well, you know, there's Adam Rita. He knows time is running out, but Kay, hey, you got to give him credit. That took a lot of courage. I know it's an easy thing to pick up 3/4 of a yard, but still, there's all those awful things that can happen, and he had a chance to really ice it with the field goal, but he really has a chance to ice it now. The clock is moving. We're now moving under a minute to go. Edmonton with a fresh set of downs.
And 52 seconds to go on the clock. Inside the 30. Keep it on the ground. Keep it to Williams. He's had a pretty nice evening here at BC Place across the 25-yard line.
Well, the old Grey Cup rematch from a year ago. Toronto Argonauts travel to Taylor Field tomorrow night. Friday night football returns to TSN. John Wells, Glenn Suter will be along, and a lot of changes for both teams. As you mentioned earlier, Bobby Jurison, the bulk of the sack man for Saskatchewan now with the Argonauts. That's a bit of a change. No Doug Flutie anymore.
A lot of changes for the Argos.
Whoa.
If I had told you preseason, you know, Jurison's going to play in that game, I'm sure you would have said, so what?
Yeah.
Of course he will.
I agree with you.
With the Argos. That's the shocker.
Smart play by Calvin Williams right there to not go out of bounds, stay in bounds, let the clock run. BC has a timeout, and you have to wonder when they're going to use it. You know, Edmonton's in all these situations now. If they choose to kick the field goal, they can take a delay of game. The 5 yards isn't going to matter, and, you know, they really control it right now, and the fans kind of sense this too. They're heading for the exits.
Got to feel good for Kay Stevenson, and obviously Adam Rita doesn't share that sentiment, but Stevenson had a rough indoctrination with Sacramento. They went 6-12 that first year. Archer had a great year passing, but that was about the only bright light. They were the first, the great experiment into the U.S., and then in 94 they went 9-8-1, had the winning record. Then in 95 in San Antonio, the franchise and Fred Anderson moving it over there. They went 12-6. They lost to Baltimore in the Southern Division final. Remember the Southern Division in the CFL in 1995? And the
I do remember that.
Went on to beat Calgary in the Grey Cup in Regina, but San Antonio had a good team, one to be reckoned with, and then it was all for naught. They folded up, and Kay Stevenson went on to Arkansas as an offensive coordinator. Well, David Archer went off to the Ottawa Rough Riders for another year. Stevenson used to be a quarterback, played in the NFL, briefly with the Buffalo Bills, and of course coached the Bills back in the 80s. A friend of Chuck Knox, started his NFL tenure with the LA Rams, and Knox brought him over to Buffalo. Archer downing the ball, zeros on the clock, and the Edmonton Eskimos have won yet another season opener, their 21st. David Archer puts one in the win column in his first game back in 2 years. And first game back for Kay Stevenson in 3 years as a former assistant with the Eskimos. Adam Rita offers congratulations to Gizmo Williams and his counterpart, Kay Stevenson. The Eskimos see a lot of changes, but a very familiar result. Picking up the win and taking it by 8 points. The Eskimos winning it 20-12. Smiles all around, 2012 final. Now it's time for the TSN Turning Point. Not much question. The first drive for Dave Archer and the Eskimos in the third quarter. And definitely taking control of this game, and it's Calvin Williams. C.J. Williams taking it in for the touchdown to make it 17-4, the first touchdown of the game, but the Eskimos never looked back from there. A cash donation will be made to the Coaching Association of Canada for the training and development of Canadian coaches in amateur sport on behalf of TSN. Archer and the Eskimos and Williams go on to take it. Now back to CFL Live Control.
All right, not the explosive offensive game we expected, guys, but still a very solid performance by the Eskimos.
Well, a great win for the Eskimos, James. Looking at BC's side of the ball, though, I see two quick comments. Their offense looked absolutely awful. No continuity, and special teams, major work has to be done there. They have to work on their blocking schemes. Two block punts will get you beat.
Right, and Eric, you look at what Edmonton was able to do. The number one thing is they ran the ball effectively. That was the criticism they had last year for a long time, especially in the playoffs. You know what? In one game, you have to reassess that now they have a much more balanced offense, James.
All right, 20-12, the Eskimos defeating the BC Lions. We'll be back with more coming up right after this. All right, welcome back to TSN Control. And joining us now is quarterback turned broadcaster turned quarterback David Archer. And I tell you what, Dave, TSN was so upset when you left, they replaced the whole darn studio crew here. A little bit of a shaky start off the top, but you really settled down.
Yeah, we fortunately our defense is the heart and soul of this team, and obviously we'd like to have an identity offensively, and I think it came in the running game a little bit tonight, but the guys stood around me. I made a couple bad throws early in the ball game, and then the late interception, a little miscommunication between Don Blair and myself as far as where he was going to be on his angle on the post. But the guys stayed together, and that was nice to see. We faced a little adversity early. Boy, the defense stepped up and played extremely well. I knew this defense was tough because I had to play against it. It's nice to have them on my side.
David, Chris Schultz here. Congratulations on your win. I got to ask you a question as it relates to being a broadcaster and seeing the game from a different angle, looking right on top of everything. Every game was a different kind of view than you've ever had as a quarterback. Was there something you could bring from that '97 experience that helped your personal play this year?
Well, I don't think there's any question about it. It's just a matter of me executing, Chris. Really, I saw some things in the booth. I got to do 31 games last year for TSN and CBC, and I certainly saw some areas that weren't being exploited. Now, doing it is another thing, and I didn't get it done tonight, but fortunately, my running game stepped up for me.
David, Eric Tillman, your experience with Kay goes back all the way to the old days in the old World Football League. How much does that mean to you as a quarterback to have that kind of shared experience with your coach?
Well, it's tremendous, Eric. As you know, whenever you have familiarity with what you're trying to do, there's a lot of input between Kay and myself. When I come to the sidelines, it's very much a discussion. It's not him telling me what to do. He asks me what I like to do, what I want to do, what I feel like, how the team's feeling. He very much wants to know a pulse of the team out on the field, and I try to give that to him. And so it's more of a partnership than it is a coach and a player.
David, all the offensive weapons on the BC Lions, they only scored 12 points tonight. You have to hand it to your defense as well.
Well, no question. Willie Pless or somebody like that should be standing here talking to you, not me. I certainly didn't provide this W. Our offensive line, Troy Mills and C.J. running with the football, and that great defense is what put us in the win column.
David, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't this Leo Groenwagen's first time at center? Previously, I'd seen him only at guard and a little bit at tackle.
I think he's had a few snaps at center, but this is his first full game calling the shots from the center position. And as you know, that's a very critical position, especially in our offense, because we don't move the quarterback quite as much as a lot of teams do. He has to make a lot of calls and a lot of adjustments based on what he's seeing in the fronts. Did a super job tonight.
All right, David, we have to know, which one do you prefer, the uniform or the suit?
I'm back where I'm supposed to be right now, but don't forget about me.
All right, don't have too much success, though. We don't want to put any ideas in Chris Schultz's head. We don't want him going back.
Hey, we can use it. If he wants to come down here, we'll take him.
We've lost enough already. All right, thanks very much, David.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, David Archer and the Eskimos victorious tonight. And, guys, again, just a solid effort all around by the Eskimos.
A big win by the Edmonton Eskimos, and it puts them in a great position. Next week, they play BC again at home. If they win that game, it gives them home field advantage in the case of a tiebreaker at the end of the season.
You know, when we were discussing this game, we came to a point in the fourth quarter, Eric, and you made a really good point that right now the BC Lions, they don't have an identity. There's not really something on the offensive side of the football that they do singularly well. They're not really a running team. They're kind of like a good short passing team, but then they really expect their running backs to make long plays. They weren't really effective throwing the ball deep. The biggest thing that they need to do is develop an identity, and sometimes that's the toughest thing to do, because when you're trying to develop an identity, your biggest hazard is you don't have enough time. On the other hand, as you expressed, the Edmonton Eskimos did a wonderful job running the football, and there's no doubt if you can run the football, in particular in the Canadian Football League with the limited number of downs, you're going to win one heck of a lot of games, James.
All right, guys, we said right off the top we weren't sure what to expect from either one of these teams. What we got from Edmonton, a very solid effort tonight, and BC still a lot of question marks. We'll be back to wrap it up right after this. And we still have one more game left in this first week of the CFL season. Don't forget, Adidas, Friday Night Football tomorrow night, the Grey Cup rematch, the Argos and the Saskatchewan Roughriders from Taylor Field. And coming up later, don't forget, Sports Desk at 11 p.m. Pacific. Mike Toth and Dave Randorf have it for you. Big stories tonight, Pedro Martinez against his old team. Glenn Sather remains at Edmonton, and Martina Hingis upset at Wimbledon. Eskimos winning their season opener. Adam Rita's boys have to go back and figure out what the heck went wrong. We'll see you tomorrow night, folks, or tonight, if you're on the East.